Bryn, at one stretch, you had retired 16 consecutive Reds hitters. Is this the strongest 7 innings you've ever pitched in the major leagues?
Well, I think so. You know, I was talking to you earlier about my breaking stuff. I didn't throw a lot of curveballs today, and we stayed basically with fastball changeup. What worked mostly today was 2 good running fastballs. I was throwing a sinker in and away, and then I was throwing a cross-seamer away to right-handers and into left-handers. And fortunately, I was able to hit spots and not groove the ball or throw the ball down the middle of the plate.
Bryn Smith leads the Montreal Expos in search of their 5th consecutive win, live on TSN against the St. Louis Cardinals. Brought to you by Petro-Canada, dealers and agents. Our energy is Canada. It was Bryn Smith Saturday, 5 days ago in Cincinnati. The wily Expo veteran went head-to-head with a flame-throwing youngster named Jose Rijo, and Smith matched him pitch for pitch. He struck out 6 in 7 innings of 2-hit shutout work. At the plate, Smith got 1 of only 3 Expo hits and got the first one off of Rijo. And defensively, Smith was busy helping those who were trying to help him. Witness this play from Galarraga to Bryn Smith. After 7 solid innings of work and a 1-0 lead, Smith hoped the bullpen could do the job. And Tim Burke registered his 2nd of 3 weekend saves, putting the finishing touches on a Bryn Smith masterpiece. Hello again, everyone. I'm Jim Houston with Ken Singleton at Olympic Stadium in Montreal. Well, there's no flame-throwing youngster against Smitty tonight. In fact, it might be his clone on the mound for the Cards.
Well, you're talking about Bob Forsch, of course. Neither one of these pitchers up in the 90s with their fastballs, but they do have a variety of breaking pitches and changing speeds, and that's how they can be successful. Also, both of these pitchers tonight must keep the ball out of the middle of the plate if they want to win this ball game. Should be a good one.
And both of them have been wanting run support in their recent starts. In fact, pitchers on both sides for these teams have been just that. We'll stay to the end because it's likely to be close. All of them have been lately. This is Labatt Expos Baseball on TSN.
Welcome back to the Big O, and with me is Cardinals shortstop Ozzie Smith. And Ozzie's been out the last few days. Remnants of that scuffle that the Giants and the Cardinals had in St. Louis a couple of days ago. And this actually goes back to last year's playoffs. It's kind of bad blood between those two ball clubs, doesn't it, Ozzie?
Well, actually, Ken, it goes back further than that. A couple of years ago, you know, we had a game where Vince Coleman stole, as you know, stealing bases is part of our game. And in the 5th or 6th inning, Vince Coleman stole 2nd and 3rd base, and they felt that it was out of character. So it was at that point that they decided that they were going to do something about it, and that's really when things kind of started, and the managers got into it, and it sort of, last year in the playoffs, it sort of just kept going, and it's been building and building, and finally it culminated this past week.
So you felt that this was coming to a point, and that Sunday is something that was just going to happen sometime or another.
Well, it was one of those situations, and I think that, you know, as a professional athlete, that you should be able to put yesteryear behind you, and it's something that they have not been able to do. You know, it's not something that our ball club was looking for, but at the same time, you know, you have situations where we could have very easily have said that the day that they beat us 21-2, that they didn't stop trying to get hits, and with the type of ball club that we have, why in the world should we stop running? And I mean, we could have said that, and we didn't say that. That's just part of the game, and we had no intentions of getting to anything like that. We just wanted to go out, and this year's a totally different year. From last year, we were able to win the playoffs, which is the most important thing last year, and I guess they didn't take too kindly to that. So to me, I think it was something that was bound to happen. It happened because they wanted it to happen.
Well, Ozzie, get that thumb well. We want you back in the lineup. Everybody enjoys watching Ozzie Smith. Thank you very much.
Ken.
You're watching Labatt Expos Baseball on TSN.
5 of the first 6, John McSherry behind home plate. Larry Fontino at first, Steve Ripley at 2nd, and Fred Brocklander will work at 3rd base. Outside Olympic Stadium today might be a nice day to have the lid off. It's overcast and hot, 29 degrees Celsius. It's covered in about 5 or 6 degrees warmer inside. I think somebody forgot to put the AC on in here today. you're aware, for the Montreal Expos is 32-year-old Bryn Smith, who gets a big hand as he goes to the mound. Fans here will remember his fine start on Saturday. In his last 6 starts, he's 3-1 with a 1.32 earned runs average. He throws a fastball, a curveball, and if his fastball is working, he'll rely a lot on a palm ball as his change of speeds.
Well, Jim, this is a lineup that Bryn will be facing tonight. You see the switch hitters at the top of the lineup in 1, 2, 3 order. Vince Coleman, Willie McGee, and Terry Pendleton. From then on, you have the power man in their lineup, Tom Brunansky. Mike Laga back in after extended time on a disabled list. Ozzie Smith still out of the lineup. Jose Kendo will be in at shortstop. Tony Pena catching. A rookie, Tim Jones at second base. And a good hitting pitcher, Bob Forsch, will be batting ninth for the St. Louis Cardinals.
Bryn Smith will be backed up by a defense that has been second to none in the National League of late. Everyone has contributed. Nelson Santavania will catch Smith. Galarraga, Foley, who's playing great second base. Rex Hudler in for Luis Rivera at shortstop, and Wallach at third. Tim Raines is back after missing 3 of the last 4 games with a left shoulder injury. Dave Martinez in center, and Hubie Brooks, the cleanup hitter, in right field. As the Expos come into this weekend, back in the East, playing the St. Louis Cardinals, they find themselves in 3rd spot, 7.5 back of New York, and you'll see if you add up the numbers that the Expos playing tonight while the Mets are idle will catch up to the Mets and will have played 100 games after this evening, so they could close to within 7 in the same number of games.
Jim, if the Expos win tonight, they will be as close as they have been to first place, going all the way back to May the 10th when they were 7 games behind the New York Mets. So big ball game tonight for the Expos, and of course the Cardinals have been struggling. We'll take a look at a ball game from this afternoon in the National League.
Houston Astros defeated San Diego 3-2. Now move on to play the Dodgers in a big weekend series. Big because Houston is second, albeit now 6.5 games back of the Dodgers in the National League West. The leadoff man in his usual position, Vincent Van Gogh. Vince Coleman of the St. Louis Cardinals to face Bryn Smith.
Vince Coleman, he of the great speed, no doubt about it, one of the fastest players in all of baseball, and really the catalyst for this Cardinal offense that has sputtered all year long. Fastball by Bryn Smith is outside.
Bryn has had trouble in the first inning of outings this year, and he says part of the problem is I've been trying to use all my pitches and see what's working early instead of just going out there and airing it out and throwing the fastball and saying, hit this if you can. He changed his attitude on Saturday. He said he came out and threw his fastball, which at best is about 88 miles per hour, and it felt good, so he established it early. Then went to the other stuff.
Well, right now he's going to have to throw strikes to Vince Coleman. Definitely don't want to walk this man, and there's 3 straight fastballs. Maybe the hitters are looking for a variety of breaking balls early in the game here, and might be fooled by Bryn coming right at them. It worked last week, might work against the Cardinals. Maybe something they're not used to.
Said he had to do something to stop giving up so many runs early. What would happen is he'd try all of his pitches and he'd get roughed up for a couple of runs and then not know which pitch to use because somebody had a hit off each one of them.
Right now, with the count 3-1, he's in danger of putting one of the fastest man in baseball on base, and there's strike 2 call. Bryn Smith, of course, has the excellent control. Throw a strike just about when he wants to, and the same can be said for Bob Forsch, his opposite number in tonight's ball game.
Very similar pitchers. The 3-2 to Coleman. And Vince Coleman, he of the 52 stolen bases to the board.
Not only that, Coleman has stopped being a slasher at home plate, just going up there swinging. He's taking more walks the last couple of years, trying to increase his on-base percentage. But I mentioned, Coleman might be getting on base. As you can see, he's tied with Gerald Young for the league lead in stolen bases. Cardinals are not scoring runs. Coleman had a game where he was 5 for 5 with 2 doubles and 2 stolen bases and didn't score a run in that ball game.
And he's going right away. Had a great jump. Santavania's throw dropped by Hudler, but I don't think would have been in time had he made a great tag. Coleman had a terrific jump.
Not only only did Coleman have a good jump, he had a tremendous lead at the start of this. Almost 2 feet on the carpet. Acceleration after about 2 or 3 steps is at its maximum, and that's why he's able to beat just about every throw. Everything has to be perfect to throw out guys like Gerald Young and Vince Coleman, Tim Raines when he's going good. These guys are just about impossible to throw out. And you better watch him now because he might head for third base.
Willie McGee, who normally bats in the third spot, if Ozzie Smith is in the lineup, he would bat second, and McGee third, is in the second spot right now. And the count is 1-1 from Bryn Smith with Coleman on second base. Top of the first inning from Olympic Stadium in Montreal.
McGee having a pretty productive year at 303. Right now, you saw him try and drop that bunt down, try and get Coleman over to third base. Now, if Willie gets 2 strikes, you might see Coleman take off on his own, even with a left-handed hitter at the plate. That's the type of speed that Vince Coleman has down at second. Usually, you try and steal third with a right-handed hitter up there to block the throw from the catcher.
Pickoff attempt. Close. Coleman won.
Give Rex Hugler some credit. Called 2 pickoffs in a row. The second one a lot closer than the first. Coleman might have been expecting the first one. They don't expect the pitcher to come back with another pickoff attempt right away.
Hudler thought he might have had him. 1-1 to Willie McGee. Outside ball 2, 2-1.
Well, what this does for a hitter's favor, Jim, is the fact that with Coleman causing so much confusion out in the field, opens up holes for the hitter. Big hole between short and third right now, with Hudler trying to hold Coleman close. Ground ball to Galarraga, bobbles it momentarily, and there will be no play at first base.
That'll be an error charged against Andres Galarraga. He's normally sure-handed, would have picked up that and had the out in no time at all. He just couldn't find it. He had time to recover, but still couldn't make it.
I think the speed of Willie McGee makes it even tougher. Galarraga knows he has the hustle, and he isn't composed enough to get the ball after missing it the first time. McGee is safe. Galarraga's 14th error of the season.
First and third with nobody out. Great opportunity for the Cardinals in the top of the first inning. Team that's had trouble scoring runs. There's a chance to get on the board early. Terry Pendleton, another switch hitter. 266 average, 250 left-handed. So this is his weak side, although he's pretty even on both sides.
Pendleton, like a number of the Cardinals this year, injury problems, hamstring, in particular with Pendleton. Missed a number of games. Came back, was used as a pinch hitter exclusively for the Cardinals over a 10-game period. So you know the cupboard must have been bare if they had to rush him back with a pulled hamstring and only use him as a pinch hitter.
Jose Oquendo can play a lot of positions, but not all of them at the same time, unfortunately. The 0-1, McGee's on his way, fouled away. McGee's not as fast as he once was, but he's better this year than he has been in a while. Once stole 52 bases, 29 so far this year, even on the bad knees. He only had 16 all of last season.
Mentioned a bad knee surgery, of course, for Willie McGee. Maybe he picks his spots better. Maybe he doesn't run with the reckless abandon. Maybe he takes his time, gets a good pitch to go on. 29 and 4 in stolen base attempts for McGee, and he's going again.
And again, the pitch is fouled off by Pendleton. McGee hoping for a throw, maybe that will skitter out into center field and allow Coleman to get home.
Well, if that knee is a little tight, it's loosening up as he gets those running starts towards second base and then has to walk back to first. Rich Hacker, first base coach for the Cardinals. His uncle Warren, a former major league pitcher.
The 0-2 pitch out. Nothing on. A ball and 2 strikes as Bryn Smith gets a workout in the first from the Cardinals.
Well, it's set up by a walk and an error. Certainly something you don't want. first and third situation with Pendleton at the plate, another speedy runner.
Smith steps off.
Here's a situation where he might be going for a strikeout, even though he's not a strikeout pitcher. Certainly help him out.
Smith fakes a throw to third. Shortening up the lead of Vince Coleman.
What he should do is tie his shoes together.
Here's the 1-2 to Pendleton. Ground ball. This time Galarraga's got it. Goes to second for one. Back to first. And they don't get the double play. The throw is offline off the glove of Galarraga. One nothing. The Cardinals lead as Coleman scooted home. The Expos were willing to surrender that run to get the double play.
Ground ball. Coleman holds up momentarily at third. Galarraga decides to go for the double play. Coleman's on his way home. There's no error on this play. You can't assume a double play. Pendleton will get a run batted in.
And stands at first on a fielder's choice. Coleman gets a run scored, and the Cardinals lead 1-0. But this Expo defense that has been so sure-handed of late doesn't look so in the early going.
Looks a little bit sloppy.
Former Minnesota Twin Tom Brunansky, who's cooled off considerably since a hot start with the Cards. Behind 0-1.
Bruno coming over from Minnesota. The deal for Tommy Herr. I saw where Tommy Herr went back on the disabled list. Came up for one at-bat. Got a pinch hit double against the Orioles. Ran to second and pulled a thigh muscle and is out again.
The 0-2. Pendleton not much of a threat to run. One of the few Cardinals who wears the lead boots. Only 2 stolen bases, caught twice, and has a bad hamstring to boot. The 1-2 to Brunansky. 2 balls, 2 strikes as Smith misses inside.
Smith not happy with the call. John McSherry so far this inning has been very tight on Bryn Smith on pitches around the corner, and those are the ones that Bryn Smith is going to need, and Bob Forsch is going to need too.
Here's the 2-2. Fouled away. Smith said after his last start on Saturday that he didn't notice the strike zone this season being any higher, but he finds it on some days a little wider, which is, of course, to his advantage as he tries to paint the corners all the time.
Well, a pitcher like Smith, who has the excellent control, can move it a little bit further away, a little bit further, and extend that strike zone as he goes along. Oh.
That's about as hard as Bryn Smith throws it.
And not only did he throw it hard, he got it upstairs. Every other pitch had been down. So here's a case of changing the plane of the pitch. Down all until that last pitch to Brunansky, and he threw it as hard as he could, up around the letters, and he swung under it.
It's almost like he's a little steamed at being out there so long, and he's now down to business. 1-0, the Cardinals lead. A walk, an error, fielder's choice, hasn't been a hit yet, and the Cardinals are up 1-0. Mike Laga, the first baseman, is behind 0-1.
Laga, I hate to keep mentioning these Cardinal injuries, but this man was out with a dislocated shoulder for 86 ball games. He was hurt in spring training. Came up through the Tiger system as Pendleton takes his lead at first base with 2 down. Pendleton's had as many as 24 steals in a year. With that pulled hamstring, or a hamstring problem that he's had, maybe the reins are a little bit tighter at first base.
Pendleton creeps out as far as the carpet. Doesn't quite have 1 foot on it. The pitch to Laga, they'll appeal. And at a third base, Brett Brocklander says no, like Laga didn't go around. So the count is 2 balls and 1 strike on 28-year-old Mike Laga. who's back from the injured list and playing because Bob Horner is injured. And Horner's not even close.
He might be out for the rest of the season.
2-1 pitch is hit high in the air to right center. Way back and almost at the track now. On it is Hubie Brooks. That ball seemed to stay up forever. It finally came down for Hubie. Long inning for Bryn Smith, who seemed to have some decent stuff, but had to throw 25 pitches to get 3 outs. The Cardinals didn't get a hit, but have a run. The Expos are coming up. This is Labatt Expos Baseball on TSN. St. Louis Cardinals and 38-year-old Bob Forsch in his 15th season, all with the St. Louis Cardinals. Forsch has been quite a utility man. Works out of the bullpen, starts. This is only his 6th start of the season for the Cardinals.
So let's check out the Expos lineup for this evening. Dave Martinez, recently acquired from the Cubs, will be starting in center field. Tim Raines, bit of a shoulder problem, but he's in the lineup tonight facing the right-handed pitching of Bob Forsch. Andres Galarraga, bit of a slump. First base, Hubie Brooks, playing a good right field as well as hitting solidly. Tim Wallach, Tom Foley, defensive standout at second. Nelson Santabena draws the starting nod at catcher tonight. Rick Cutler moving in at shortstop. Luis Rivera bothered by a sore back, and Bryn Smith be on the mound facing the veteran Bob Forsch.
The Expos have seen an awful lot of Bob Forsch over the years. He has 20 wins and 16 losses lifetime against Montreal. He's backed up tonight by another pretty good defense. This defense is tied with Montreal and a couple of other teams atop the National League in defensive percentage. Mike Laga plays at first. Tim Jones is a rookie at second. Jose Oquendo at short and Pendleton at third. In the outfield, left to right, Vince Coleman, Willie McGee, and Tom Brunansky. Normally, you might see Smith at shortstop, Oquendo playing second, or Luis Alicea, who's now been sent down to the minors to play every day, and Horner at first, but there are some injuries. Dave Martinez is up for Montreal to lead off, as Bob Forsch finishes off his warm-ups.
Those numbers you're looking at represent Martinez's overall numbers for the season. 237, 4 home runs, 35 runs batted in. But as an Expo, Martinez is looking for his first base hit.
Although he made some things happen the other night. 2 nights ago when he played, he got his first run batted in, scored a run. Still hasn't got that hit.
At Atlanta tonight, we have the Cincinnati Reds tied with the Braves. 2-2 at ball games in the 7th inning. First pitch to Martinez is fouled back out of play.
Reds still hoping to get back in it. Atlanta.
That's Jose Rijo on the mound.
His last outing was a 1-0 loss to Bryn Smith and the Expos.
Against John Smoltz, the rookie that was called up by the Atlanta Braves and won his first ball game over the New York Mets.
Well, so there is something interesting about that game. 1-1 to Dave Martinez. Over from Chicago for Mitch Webster. Hits it hard to the deepest part of the park. Way back to the wall and caught there by Willie McGee. Solid contact, at least, for Martinez.
That ball might have been a home run in the friendly confines of Wrigley Field, especially if the wind was blowing out, and you would have seen Willie McGee going back a lot more gingerly with a brick wall and some ivy waiting for him in center field. Nice catch by McGee.
Here's Tim Raines, bothered by a left shoulder injury, tried to come back on Tuesday night and pulled himself out of the game in the 8th inning, worried that he might cost the team the ball game, not because of his inability to swing a bat, but his inability to go after a ball at the wall, make a play that might save the game.
I think his shoulder bothers him a little bit more hitting right-handed. That's why he's in there tonight against Forsch.
Popped up, foul territory, and Coleman doesn't have a play. Pretty close. 0-2.
He came up with one thing, a face full of wall. Watch him take a glance or two as he approaches the foul territory. It's not an easy play. He thought he had it all the way, and all of a sudden, I'm out of real estate.
Yeah. 0-2 count on Raines. A change-up from Bob Forsch, and Raines is his first strikeout victim, 2 away.
Change of speed. That's the name of the game for Bryn Smith and Bob Forsch. Tim Raines well out in front of this pitch. Might have even been a fork ball. Swings right over top. And Bob Forsch has the first 2 Expo hitters retired.
And here's the third man in the order for Forsch, Andres Galarraga. Second in the league in batting at .318, struggling lately, but has his first hit of the night. Swinging at the first pitch he takes tonight.
If anything would bring Galarraga out of a slump, it would be the St. Louis Cardinals.
Yeah.
Team that he's worn out over the years. Gala not wasting any time. It's a good sign when he's pulling the ball. The last few days, it seems that Galarraga has really been struggling, getting jammed quite a bit. That time he gets the head out and singles into left field.
The league's leader in hits and in many other categories. Galarraga hitting .423 against St. Louis coming into this ball game this season. And he's aboard with 2 out for Hubie Brooks. Hubie, like so many of the Expos, struggling since the break with the bat, hitting just .236 in his last 10 games. But the Expos, thanks to their pitching, have been in most games. Last night they got 13 hits. It's the first time they've had double digits in the hit column since the All-Star break. That's 13 games without getting 10 hits in one until last night.
In fact, this is game number 100 for the Expos this season. Manager Buck Rogers would certainly like to see the offense pick up. Have a laugher every once in a while. Managers have to manage right down to the wire in those tight ball games. Mike Fitzgerald 2 nights ago was the last player available for the Expos, and he came through.
Grand slam in an 8-4 win, and last night he wasn't the last player available, but he was close to it. The Expos won 5-4 on Fitzgerald's heroics.
Well, even with Forsch on the mound, not really a hard throw. The Cardinals expect Hubie to hit the ball to the right side. Willie McGee playing towards right center. Big hole in left center field. Ball down and away.
3 balls, 2 strikes to Hubie Brooks. Galarraga will be off and running.
Here's a look at McGee towards right center field. Look at the gap between Willie McGee and Vince Coleman. Of course, those guys can cover it as well as anybody.
That's right. They can close that gap in a hurry, can't they?
Might be just camouflage.
Galarraga's on his way, and Brooks is struck out. Called strike 3 by John McSherry. Hubie Brooks is the second strikeout victim for Bob Forsch.
We mentioned how these guys, Forsch and Smith, are going to have to paint the corners. You can't do it any better than this. Knee high on the inside corner.
So Forsch gives up a hit. Bryn Smith didn't do that, but Forsch didn't have the trouble that Smith did. 1-0 Cards after 1. This is Labatt Expos Baseball on TSN. In a 4-game weekend series between the Expos and the St. Louis Cardinals, as the Expos are into a 4-week part of their schedule in the East Division that may make or break them. They have to get a little closer to the New York Mets, and they'll face them in a 4-game series in New York in the next few weeks. They also play the Pittsburgh Pirates. And this weekend, as New York moves into Pittsburgh, the Expos have to play the Cardinals Cup and hope that Pittsburgh and the Mets split.
I was going to say the Expos first have to deal with the Pittsburgh Pirates next week, and that's the team directly in front of them. You got to get closer to the Pirates before they can get closer to the Mets.
Let's face it, it's a tough challenge for these guys to be in the race down to the wire. When you think about it, the Montreal record tonight of 52-47. Ball hit to center field by Jose Oquendo and caught there by Dave Martinez, who will get to as much as anybody in the National League.
The Expos with 52 wins, and you have to figure with 63 games left, including tonight, that in order to be in the hunt in the East, they're going to have to get to 92 wins, at least 95 to win it. Would be, well, you'd have to be hoping in the Expos line of thinking that the Mets stay cool. So in order to get there, in their last 62 games, the Expos would have to win 42 or 43, and that means winning 2 out of every 3 ball games, and that's tough.
No kidding. 2 out of every 3 over that long a stretch. You can pull it off. You deserve the win.
You have to play 680 baseball down the stretch.
You figure the Expos won 91 ball games last year. It's going to be quite an accomplishment for them just to equal that. Tony Pena has had a lot of success here in Montreal over the years. Bryn Smith quickly ahead on the count. No balls and 2 strikes with 1 out here at the top of the 2nd inning. If you're just joining us, the Cardinals are leading 1-0. Pushed across a run in the 1st inning.
An appeal, and Larry Fontino at first base says yes. Pena went around, 2 away. Strikeout number 2 for Smith.
Not really what you would call a haymaker, but a kind of a jab by Tony Pena. It's more than Michael Spinks threw. Michael had the same effect. He was gone too.
I don't think Tony's going to retire over this, though. 2 away then for Smith, who's shaken off that 1st inning, obviously.
I wonder after Spinks retired, did he head right to the bank after that to just check his deposits?
You sit home and read his balance every day. 0-1 to Tim Jones. The rookie pops it up to the shortstop, Rex Hudler. 25 pitches in the 1st inning for Bryn Smith. He said that's his tough inning. In his 2nd, he took 6 pitches to get through the St. Louis Cardinals in order. He's obviously settled down and is behind 1-0. This is Labatt, Expos Baseball on TSN. Been catcher Mike Fitzgerald. Last night, he drove in the winning run in the bottom of the 9th for a 5-4 Expo win. But he'd done himself one better already the night before with a grand slam in the 11th.
Well, the first night, I think I was our last player available. Everyone had been used. It was 11th inning, and I've been out in the bullpen the whole game. I got a call down to the bullpen to come on down, and usually they tell me, you're going to pinch hit, get down there, or you're going to catch, get down there. They just said, get down there. So I took off running around the stadium here. And I got to the bench, and Buck said, just sit down there. I don't know what's happening yet. So, anyway, I don't remember exactly what happened, but it came up 1st and 2nd, 2 outs. They walked Martinez to load the bases, and Buck turned and said, you're the hitter. So, I went up there, and I was a bit nervous, but I hit the ball good and went out of here. I didn't know it was going out. I knew I hit it good, but I was running around them bases, and I didn't know it was gone until I heard the crowd yelling. Boy, that was a loud roar. Went around the bases, everybody was just jumping up crazy. Everybody had done a good job that night. We had guys making great QB in right field, making great catches. Hudler diving at short, Foley jumping up in the air, Robin Vance, and somebody else line drives. You know, it was a great night.
2 exciting ball games against the Chicago Cubs. Both come from behind victories for the Expos, 8-4 in that grand slam night on Tuesday, and last night 5-4 with a 9th inning comeback.
Those are the type of games that can inspire a ball club to greater heights. The Expos maybe getting a feeling of invincibility, if you will. But certainly they had to feel good about it. They come into the Cardinals series on an up note, winners of 4 in a row. St. Louis comes in having lost 2 straight. So the Cardinals still searching for a little bit of magic, something that's deserted them after last year's pennant-winning season.
Tim Wallach to lead things off against Bob Forsch and fouls off the first pitch and is behind 0-1. Interesting, though, that through the first 100 games of the season, on most nights, it's been the pitchers that have bailed the hitters out for the Montreal Expos. The hitting hasn't been that good this season. The pitchers have bailed them out, but the last 2 nights, after the starters did a great job, the bullpen had some problems, and it was the other way around. The hitters came to the rescue.
They might be starting to miss Jeff Parrott, who should be ready to come off the disabled list in a couple of days. That finger healing a lot better after the accident. in the batting cage during bunting practice.
Ground ball, Pendleton will throw out the other third baseman in this game, Tim Wallach, one away. Both last night and the night before, the Expos had one-run leads for their starters. The bullpen lost it and got behind. And then the hitters came and bailed them out. And although Mike Fitzgerald was the hero in the end, Wallace Johnson, both nights, got things started with a key pinch hit. A triple 2 nights ago, a single last night. But it's a little early in the night to talk about Wally.
Wallace hasn't gotten his wake-up call yet. Comes around the 7th inning.
Yeah. Tom Foley, the second baseman, is the batter.
Here's Wallace, probably down at the end of the dugout. The thing he has in his hand is something he uses to keep his arms loose. It's a weighted stick, something a baton like a policeman use.
And he was having a game of Clue, and that's the left pipe.
Mr. Pitch.
Two and one to Foley, one away. Cardinals leading 1-0. We're in the bottom half of the second inning.
One way you become a successful pinch hitter is stay out on the bench during the ball game. Watch and see how the game's going. Watch and see how the pitchers are throwing. Then when you get up there, they always change pitchers.
Count is full to Foley with Nelson Santovenia on deck.
Bob Forsch, this is his 15th year with the St. Louis Cardinals, the longest term with the team for any active pitcher. And he throws a hard breaking ball right there. Foley swings and misses Pena with the throw to Laga. Strikeout number 3 for Forsch, and that's very unusual. If you go all the way back to June, Bob Forsch had more decisions than he had strikeouts. He had 5 decisions into June and only had 4 strikeouts, and he's got 3 strikeouts in this ball game.
He's got exceptional stuff. He just wants them to put it in play, I guess. Hit it on the ground, let the infielders do the work.
He'll let you hit it, but he won't let you hit it hard.
2 away for Nelson Santovenia, making his 42nd start for the Montreal Expos. In the first 41, the Expos are 26-15. 11 games above 500 in the games that he started.
Used to be Mike Fitzgerald was the catcher. The Expos had an extraordinary record. Santovenia's kind of taken over. Well, Fitzy's making a bid the last couple of nights to get back in there with more regularity.
Santovenia really doesn't seem like a rookie anymore, does he? He's fit in so quickly. He calls a good game. The pitchers seem to have confidence in him. He throws well to second base. He's thrown out 35% of those trying to steal. And that's a good mark. And he's hitting reasonably well at .255, 3 home runs. In front of Bob Forsch, 3-0.
You know, with a pitcher like Forsch on the mound and somebody like Santovenia who's capable going out of the park, I would have let him swing 3-0. With 2 outs, nobody on base, give him a shot to tie the ball game up. Forsch laid that pitch right down the middle, just trying to throw a strike. Now he's going back to the corner.
Swinging at a 3-1 pitch. Santovenia put the ball on the ground for Pendleton, and that's what Bob Forsch wanted. And is more likely to get than strikeouts, although he's got 3 of them tonight. So both pitchers have a 1-2-3 second inning. The Cards lead 1-0 on that Coleman run in the first. This is Labatt, Expos Baseball on TSN. To the top of the third in a 1-0 lead for the Cardinals. Their coaches are Rich Hacker at first. In 1971 was a shortstop with the Montreal Expos, albeit for only 16 games. Nick Leyva is a career Cardinal, drafted by them, managed in their minor league system, now a coach with the major league team.
Nick Leyva in his 3rd season as the Cardinals' 3rd base coach.
Hacker didn't have a great time in those 16 games he played in 71 with the Expos. 4 for 33 and 12 strikeouts. But a fine coach.
Wonder if he's a good golfer.
Got a lot of brothers who play the game.
With a name like Hacker, I must be related to him. Bob Forsch, a pretty good hitting pitcher at the plate. Speaking of hacking away.
Bob Forsch with a 300 average, just 3 for 10. But this guy has hit a grand slam in his career. He's a good fielder, a lifetime .213 hitter who hit .298 last season with 2 home runs. So Forsch can swing the bat. I truly like that in a National League pitcher, and think that there's an awful lot of young pitchers who could take lessons from Bob Forsch. There's more in the National League than just throwing the ball. You have to be able to swing the bat. And Forsch, all through his career, has been able to do that.
Included in with those 2 home runs, 6 other extra base hits, so Bob Forsch can drive the ball as well. Chicago, the Cubs leading the Phils 2-0 in the 3rd inning at the vet, or in a few weeks. In fact, August the 8th, first night game at Wrigley Field. Ground ball towards the middle. Hudler steps, throws. Forsch is retired.
One away. Home run tonight for Chicago by Manny Trio.
Rex Hudler playing through the middle, not expecting Forsch to pull the ball, and Hudler installed at shortstop the last couple of ball games. Right on target with the throw. Hudler did play some short for a brief period of time in the Yankee organization. Spring training with the Orioles. So he's not a complete stranger to the shortstop position.
And he had been playing some shortstop in Indianapolis before he was called up.
It's interesting to see where he's playing right now for Vince Coleman. First pitch is on the corner for a strike. Hudler way over. In fact, he and Tim Wallach could just about shake hands over there at the left side of the infield. Big hole is through the middle for Coleman.
Coleman walked in the first, stole a base, moved to third on an error, and scored on a ground ball that should have been a double play. 1-1. Just makes it by Wallach down into the corner, and Vince Coleman rounds first. He's going for second. The throw in from Raines, not in time. Coleman was there, went over the bag, and a little absent-minded. Just for a second, he had nothing touching the bag. First hit off of Bryn Smith tonight.
Vince Coleman, slap-type hitter, pounds this one right by Tim Wallach at third. Now watch Tim Raines get over it quickly and put some pressure on Coleman. With his speed, Raines gets off a good throw. And as you said, Jim, at the end of this, maybe he couldn't turn off the Jets quite quickly enough. Kind of leans back onto the base with that right hand. Tom Foley, give him credit. He stayed right with him. Coleman was almost retired.
Another runner in scoring position then for the Cardinals. With 1 away, top of the 3rd, and Willie McGee got a board on an error to Galarraga in the first at bat. You're mentioning Chicago, August the 8th in the first night game. What do you think? You're going to wear a black armband that night?
You know, I guess my opinion is well known, the fact that I wanted to see day baseball stay somewhere. But the Cubs have made a point. You know, a lot of times they come into town after a long road trip and they have to get up and play a day game the next day, whereas other teams get to play at night. Has this worn down the Cubbies during the course of a long season? Not only that, but playing day ball. A lot hotter in the daytime.
Funny, you never heard the Cubs complaining about that in seasons when they were playing really well. Well, 84, I don't remember hearing an awful lot of complaints about day baseball.
Well, another thing that they like to mention is the fact that they feel they'll be able to draw better at night. Although the Cubs do draw very well in the daytime. They feel they'll be more competitive with other teams when it comes to bidding for free agents.
People who oppose night baseball are hoping they have slingshot night August the 8th as well as the first night game.
Maybe that in combination with pea shooter night.
Yeah. Here's a ground ball for the shortstop, Hudler. Just in time at first base. Close play. McGee's gone and Coleman's at third base with 2 outs.
Hudler took a chance. Now he checked Coleman going to third base, and you can't really do this with Willie McGee going down the line. You don't have that luxury that you might have with other runners. McGee, let's see how close his play is. He might have beaten it. Here's a throw across the diamond. I think he was safe. Not much of an argument from McGee, but Hudler checking Coleman going to third. He's going to make it anyway. You better get it over the first base.
Well, Hudler's not played against these running Redbirds before. Something tells me he won't hesitate next time.
No, not at all.
0-1 is the count on Terry Pendleton, who grounded into what should have been a double play, turned into a fielder's choice in the first, and got an RBI as Coleman scored from third. That's the only run in this game. 1-0, top of the third inning. The Cardinals lead. Here's a fly ball to center field. Martinez got a late jump and he can't get to it. Off the wall, Coleman will come in to score on the double by Pendleton, and the Cardinals lead 2-0.
Vince Coleman scoring for the second time tonight. And Pendleton driving in his second run of the ball game. A high fastball towards the middle of the plate. This ball is hit well. Martinez maybe playing a bit too cheaply in center field. Cannot come up with it. And the Cardinals will score their second run of the ball game.
Pendleton standing out at second base, and Tom Brunensky at the plate will try and deliver him. Hit to center field again. Martinez is back, doesn't have to go as far this time, and makes the catch on the fly ball from Brunensky. But Coleman gets his second run of the game. Pendleton his second RBI. A run on 2 hits and 1 left. The Cards lead by a couple. This is Labatt Expos Baseball on TSN. Cardinals are now 12 games under 500, not even close to being where they were last year, on top of the division. And, well, they've had injuries all season long, but Whitey Herzog won't use that as an excuse.
We played pretty good in May. We had 3 pitchers on the table, daily on the table, but we hit a little bit. Since that time, we haven't hit the baseball. We can't get a 2-out base hit. We're 11th in the league in runs scored. What bothers me, we're 12th in doubles. We knew we were going to be 12th in home runs. And if we don't get the 2-out base hits, because we never hit a home run. We go into extra innings and somebody pops one, then we're done. So that's our main reason we're playing baseball the way we are.
16 games back of the New York Mets. Last year, Whitey had to fight through some injury problems as well. You look at the disabled listed players from last season when they won the pennant. There were 12 different players on the DL, and not just pushover kind of guys. Prominent players like John Tudor, Tony Pena, Tommy Hurd, Danny Cox, and not including Jack Clark, who was hurt but didn't go on the DL late in the season. So they fought through adversity last season. Can't do it this year.
Well, one of the Cardinals' history is they've won the pennant 3 of the last 6 seasons, but never 2 years in a row. So the Cardinals are kind of following a familiar pattern this year of, after winning the pennant, going on to the World Series, not playing particularly well in the next season. Of course, injuries have a lot to do with it. But as you mentioned, they did have injuries last year. How much do they miss Jack Clark? That's what I want to know.
Or his replacement, Bob Horner, who really hadn't given them the punch that Clark had.
It's one reason why they went out and traded Tommy Hurd. Get Brunensky, who's done a pretty good job, but has kind of slumped off himself. Forsch will be facing Rex Hudler. So we move to the bottom half of the third inning. The Cardinals on top 2-0.
Rex Hudler has been the holder of one of the hottest bats for the Expos. He went 4 for 9 against Chicago in 2 games with 2 stolen bases and 3 runs scored. But in 7 straight games he's now started, he's hitting .391.
Back in the minor league days, Hudler was a switch hitter in the Yankee system. In fact, said he was feeling very good from the left-hand side, but that ball club was under pressure to win, and first time he went into a slump, they told him forget hitting left-handed. I can remember Hudler back in spring training games when he played against the Yankees. He'd come in late in the ball game. I was wondering who this switch hitter guy who can run pretty good, play good on defense, play very well on defense. But the Yankees made him give up, and he's been able to lay. That's a beauty.
Rex Hudler, this season now has 11 infield hits. And he hasn't been here very long.
Well, you saw the reaction from Terry Pendleton. All he did was pick it up and flip it right back to Bob Forsch. No chance of getting the speedy Rex Hudler.
That's his 6th bunt hit. Bryn Smith lays down the bunt, gets his job done in short order as he sacrifices to move Hudler down to second base. The Labatt player of the game tonight for the Montreal Expos will receive this hand-carved Inuit sculpture presented by Country Style. There's a whole lot happening at Country Style. Soup, sandwiches, chili, and our rich, satisfying coffee. Don't you think it's time you came our way?
Well, Jim, you mentioned how pitchers are able to help themselves swinging the bat as Bob Forsch does. Bryn Smith, a veteran, getting the runner over on the first pitch, not fooling around, laying down the bunt. And Dave Martinez will be hitting, still looking for his first hit as an Expo, and this would be a good time for it. Speedy Hudler on second base should be able to score on just about any hit to the outfield.
Hudler is really a steal for the Expos because they didn't have to give up anybody to get him. He'd been in the Baltimore system, but with Ripken ahead of him, he wasn't going to play much at second and short. There he goes to third base. The throw is not in time, and Rex Hudler is 14 for 14 in stolen bases.
Speaking of being a steal, young man has yet to be caught. He and Otis Nixon, since coming up from Indianapolis, certainly added an element of speed to the Expos' attack. Certainly Buck Rogers knows that these two young men can make something happen, and Hudler does right here, getting the third base with just one out and setting up a run being able to be scored on a sacrifice fly by Dave Martinez. Martinez hits the same ball he hit in the first inning. The Expos will be on the scoreboard.
2-0, the Cardinals lead, bottom of the third. On the ground, Forsch won't be able to get Hudler, but he's guaranteed of Martinez. So there's 2 away, and the runner stays at third base, albeit in scrambly fashion to get back there.
It's about the only place you don't want to hit a ball in this situation, back to the pitcher. If you hit one to the shortstop or second base, you might get a run. Hudler scrambles back to third after Forsch fakes him. And Martinez is out. You know, when you're hitting, you look around the infield, you figure the first baseman's back, I'm a left-handed hitter, I don't want to hit a grounder to the third baseman or the pitcher. Anything to the shortstop or second baseman, especially with the speed of Hudler, is going to score a run. So the pressure isn't really there as a hitter. Curveball. And Forsch drops in for a strike to Tim Raines.
Oh, and 1 count, 2 away. Sacrifice fly, no good to the Expos anymore. Ball 1-1-1. You talked about the speed that Hudler and Nixon have added. Then you add in Dave Martinez, who's no slouch on the paths, and Tracy Jones. And in the last 5 games, the Expos have stolen 13 bases.
Jim, I would say overall, the Expos and the Cardinals are the 2 fastest teams overall in baseball as far as just overall team speed.
Given their pace of late, the Expos are now on course to have about 86 steals in their last 62 games, which would get them close to 200. Somewhere between 190 and 200 is what they're on pace for right now. And you must consider in the last 5 games when they've stolen 13, they've been without this guy, who's usually the one-man stolen base show for the Expos.
I think Raines, with that tender shoulder, if he gets on base and tries to steal, he'll be sliding feet first. Won't be overextending that shoulder with the head first slide.
Will that take a millisecond off of his time down to second base or third?
Usually he's safe by more than a millisecond.
Yeah. 2-2, runner on third, 2 away. 2-0 Cards. Here's the 2-2 pitch, way outside. 3 balls, 2 strikes. Hudler's on third.
Well, you know, the Cardinals won't want to face Galarraga with men on base. So this might be a good pitch for Tim Raines to hit. Veteran Forsch. See if he humps up and goes with the high hard one. Something like Bryn Smith threw to Brunansky. Oh, breaking ball.
And he got it. So Bob Forsch pitches his way out of a jam, leaving a runner at third base. Strikeout number 4 for Forsch, and the Cards lead by a couple. Raines has struck out twice. This is Labatt Expos Baseball on TSN. Now let's go to TSN Control for this sports update. No lead, but the Expos have them right where they want them now. That's the way they've played this year. Montreal, of its 52 wins, has come from behind to win 23 times. And so far this season, 14 of those come from behind victories have been in the last at-bat. Great for the fans, tough on the manager. Michael Aga on the ground for the sure glove Tom Foley, and Foley throws his man out. Buck Rogers says that Tom Foley is playing second base as good as anyone in the National League. And if you look around, he's absolutely right.
Plus, his average has been on the rise. You can recall early in the season below the 200 marker, down near the Mendoza line.
Yeah. Jose Oquendo. It's a fly ball to shallow right. Brooks was coming in, but Foley called him off. Brooks probably could have got there. Foley made the play. Is that not an easier play for Brooks? Well, if it's as hot on Sunday in here as it is tonight, you'll probably be able to use this. It's Tank Top Day and the annual father-child game, Sunday the 31st. The Cardinals and the Expos, if you're in the area, you'll want to come to the game and be one of the first 25,000 fans, and you'll receive a tank top, and you can see the Expos play their children in the ever-popular family game.
Speaking of tank, Tony Pena lines one towards the lower tank in left field, just foul. Use one of those tank tops right now. It's kind of warm up here. Kind of tie and long sleeves.
It's no fair, is it?
No.
Talk to the producer about that.
Kind of a tankless job.
Just any more bad lines like that, we'll put a park on here.
0-2 on Tony Pena. Whoa.
The free-swinging Pena is gone. Strikeout number 3 for Bryn Smith, and he used just 5 pitches to get the Cardinals in order in the 4th.
Tony Pena with the helicopter swing. He's grounded.
2-0. The Cardinals lead the Montreal Expos through 3.5 at Olympic Stadium. This is Labatt Expos Baseball on TSN. The top of the first, somebody didn't wake the Expos up in time for this game after a walk, a stolen base, and an error. There's a runner on third when Terry Pendleton puts the ball in play on the ground. The Expos try and turn 2, but can't do it. And the run scores. Coleman from third base. The Cardinals had a 1-0 lead. They had a legitimate run, if you will, in the third on a double by Coleman and a double by Pendleton. And it's 2-0 for the Cards as Bob Forsch goes to work against Galarraga, Brooks, and Wallach in the 4th.
Jim, Andres Galarraga's recent slump has dropped him further behind Gerald Perry of Atlanta in the race for the batting title. Galarraga is also coming up on another mark. Struck out 95 times. Almost certain to get over 100 strikeouts this year, and he would become just the third player in history, if he can win the batting title, to strike out over 100 times and still win the batting title. Roberto Clemente struck out 102 times in 1967, and Dave Parker struck out 107 times in 1977. So that would be quite a trifecta. Three pretty good hitters.
There's fighting Ozzie.
Ozzie took a shot to the lip in the fight. You can see him doctoring it. Doesn't have a cut man. The Cardinals, Gene Geiselman is a pretty good trainer, but he is not a cut man when it comes to working on guys in the corner. Ozzie with the sore thumb. I think it was the result of Candy Maldonado flying through that picture. Came in there like Superman and landed a solid shot to Ozzie Smith. And I don't think we've heard the end of this between those two ball clubs.
Cardinals will still be making another trip out to the West Coast to play the Giants.
Speaking of strikeouts, I saw what Pete Incaviglia the other day of Texas struck out for the 100th time in this season. Over a 2.5-year period, he has struck out over 450 times in 2.5 years.
A lot of wear and tear on your arms.
Larry Poncino with the call on Galarraga. The count goes to 0-2. To make a point, Joe DiMaggio, in his whole career, struck out just 369 times.
Wow.
So, in 2.5 seasons, Incaviglia is almost 100 strikeouts ahead of him. That's fanning the breeze in Texas.
The Expo record is 127 in a season. And Galarraga is in good shape to get there. And hit 300 at the same time. 2-2 now the count. The Expos down 2-0. Mentioned Bob Forsch and his long tenure. Longest tenure by a pitcher with one team in the National League. Only two players in any position have been with their team longer in the National League. Mike Schmidt and Dave Concepcion. Strikeout number 5.
Strikeout number 5 for Forsch. He changes speeds on Galarraga, and strikeout number 96 for Andres Galarraga on the season. So that ball just drop and sink. Forsch relies on movement, not velocity.
This broadcast is presented by authority of the Montreal Baseball Club Limited and may not be rebroadcast in any form without the express written consent of the Montreal Baseball Club Limited. QB Brooks is the second out of the inning. A ground ball to Jose Oquendo.
Waddy Herzog made a good point during the All-Star break. We got a good look at Jose Oquendo. He feels that utility players should be represented in the All-Star game. Maybe making a point for his own man who's played every position but, what was it, catch? Or has Oquendo done that too?
I think he's got. Pitched 4 innings against Atlanta. Has played everywhere else. So what do? You put an extra, you make that little form expand an inch longer?
Expand the roster.
Why not? It's an all-star game. You don't have to adhere to all the rigid rules that they do during the regular season. Maybe go to designated hitters as well. Let all the hitters get in the game.
Well, that's going to happen in the American League parks in the near future. I think it's next season they're going to go to that when the game goes to Anaheim.
1-1 from Forsch to Wallach. Ball and 2 strikes.
So far, Forsch has been moving the ball around quite well. He tied up Wallach on the first strike up and in, and then goes away with a breaking ball to pick up the second strike. Now, when you're a hitter, now you're in between. This is where you pop up or ground out. because you can't have a crisp swing in anything. You're not looking in any one place. And the pitcher's moving the ball around successfully.
2-2 to Wallach, who grounded out in the second. Has a 5-game hitting streak on the line tonight.
Same pitch that struck Galarraga out, Wallach's able to get a piece of and foul off. A sinker low and inside. Maybe what you might call a BP fastball, batting practice fastball. You take something off and kind of dies on its way to the plate.
It's a gravity drop. Forsch's fastball would be in the same velocity, I suppose, in the same area as Bryn Smith's.
85.
And if he gets a lot of snap on one, he might get it up to 87, 88, like that one.
That was it.
It seemed to get the job done, too.
Pushing the high numbers on the chart right here, 88.
Strikeout number 6 for Bob Forsch, who's given up just 2 hits, one of them an infield hit by the speedy Rex Hudler. And he's working with a 2-0 lead after 4. This is Labatt Expos Baseball on TSN.
The Montreal Expos. And you can join the team and myself on channel TSN in Three River Stadium, Pittsburgh, August 2nd at 7:30 Eastern. It'll be my first time, and we'd like for you to join us.
Big series, the Expos and the Pirates. They have 8 games left to play against each other this year. 5 of those will be here. 10 games left against the Mets, but only 3 at home and 7 on the road. First, though, the Pirates, and we'll bring you 2 games next week, Tuesday and Thursday, from Three Rivers Stadium. That might have a few more people in it than the last time we were there. Certainly since last season, as the Pirates are drawing well this year. 2-0 Cardinals as Bryn Smith goes back out to work. Giving up just 2 hits, both of them in the third, and a run in each of the first and third. Tim Jones is a rookie second baseman, playing because of the injury to Ozzie Smith. Jones is 25 years old, from Sumter, South Carolina. 3rd pick in the '85 draft. Has some speed, but I guess you have to be in the Cardinal organization. 26 stolen bases in 2 different leagues last year.
Now here's something you don't normally see a ball player do. Tim Jones rode skateboards professionally. I guess he thought that baseball playing paid a little bit more.
and he doesn't do it anymore because baseball playing is a little safer. His cousin is actually a professional skateboarder. They needed an extra man one day, and Tim was it. Now, I didn't know you could go into skateboarding professionally.
I didn't either. And I wouldn't either.
I wonder if there's an age limit on the team. Do you have to stop when you're 12 or something? Probably not. Good defensive play by Galarraga.
Now the key here is the throw, because Galarraga is moving away from where he has to throw the ball. He has to make an accurate throw, and almost behind Bryn Smith, but he corrals it and beats the speedy Tim Jones to first base. That's a play they work on time and time again in spring training. Galarraga and Smith work it to perfection, as they did in Cincinnati.
Very similar play. So 1 away. 5 in a row retired by Bryn Smith, who retired 16 in a row at one point on Saturday in Cincinnati. Batter is Bob Forsch. Yankees in Milwaukee. Baltimore out front of Cleveland 2-0. See, the Orioles gave Cal Ripken a brand new contract. So much for all those trade rumors.
Not only was it a new one, it was a 3-year contract, and no score in the California-Chicago game in the first inning. A 3-year contract, and I bet you it was substantial.
They were throwing around the figure $6 million in the paper that I read it in this morning.
Takes a long time to throw around $6 million.
I'd like to try. Ball and 2 strikes from Bryn Smith to Bob Forsch.
I'd invested in air conditioning.
Up the middle, there's a base hit for the pitcher, Forsch. The 3rd hit off of Smith.
Well, we told you Forsch could hit. This pitch is right down the middle, almost right up on a tee, and he tees off and hits it right down the middle of the fairway. So the Cardinals have a runner on with 1 out. We're in the top half of the 5th inning. Turn over the lineup for Vince Coleman,
who's made it happen every time he's been up. Walked, stole a base, and scored in the 1st. Doubled and scored in the 3rd. This early part of the lineup that can damage a team so much, and has tonight damaged the Expos, albeit small damage, 2-0. Coleman's in quite a battle for stolen bases this year with Gerald Young, but battles for stolen base crowns are nothing new to him. In 1983, Coleman stole 145 bases for a major league or a professional baseball record with Macon in the South Atlantic League, I believe that is, minor league ball. And he had to go down to the last day, and the battle was with the brother of Otis Nixon, Donnell Nixon, who stole 144 bases with Bakersfield. Now, Coleman was hurt for much of that season. He stole 145 in 113 games, and on the final day of the season, he had to steal 4 bases. And there's Forsch on his way, and Santavania bobbles the ball. And Bob Forsch can not only pitch and hit, but he can run.
Well, the reason why Forsch was able to steal second base, he wasn't being held on at first. The Expos take liberties. I don't think Galarraga was going to get him anyway. I should say Santavania. Forsch with such a big jump. First stolen base of the season. He's filled that column.
And a runner in scoring position with the count 3-1. Up and in, and Coleman walks, so there's runners at 1st and 2nd. But to finish the story about Coleman, to set the professional record, he had to steal 4 bases on the final day of the season, while Donnell Nixon stole 1. And he stole the crown, 145 to 144.
That's more stolen bases than teams get during a season. One man. Now, if the roles were reversed with Coleman on second and Forsch at first, you might watch out for a double steal, but with Forsch on second, I think the runners are going to stay right where they are, at least until McGee is through hitting. Here's a look at the runners. Pitcher Forsch at second. Coleman with a massive lead at first base.
Galarraga goes to second for 1. Forsch advances to 3rd. They can't turn the double play thanks to some running by Vince Coleman and the speed of Willie McGee.
Now the pressure's on Galarraga here. Coleman can get down to second in a hurry. An accurate throw is a must. He throws it right across the middle of the bag. No chance to get the speedy McGee at first. Runners at 1st and 3rd. But now there's 2 outs. And they've taken Vince Coleman off the bases. Maybe it's a good thing. The first 2 times he got on, he scored.
Terry Pendleton has done some damage. He's driven in both St. Louis runs and has a chance to drive one in here as Forsch stands on 3rd base. McGee takes his lead off first. Keep our eyes on McGee, who might be taking off in a hurry. The pitch is up and in, ball 1.
Not only with Forsch on 3rd would McGee be running, the Cardinals' way of scoring runs is putting pressure on the defense. Might be looking for an overthrow from the catcher. We won't see it here as this pitch is fouled off by Pendleton.
McGee was on his way.
to try and steal a run from third base, looking for a bobble throw in the second, trying to get McGee. That's one thing a catcher has to be leery of. He's going to try and get him, but he has to make an accurate throw. Anything in the dirt that skips away, Forsch might be able to score from third.
And you don't want to just give it to him, because then you have runners at second and third, and 2 runs could score on a base hit. A ball and 2 strikes to Terry Pendleton, the Gold Glove third baseman. Last season in the National League. I don't think he's got a chance this year, mainly due to his injury. I think that
Pitch fouled off.
that's smart. Yeah. One, two, pitch out. 2-2.
I tried catching way back when I was about 12 years old. A couple of foul balls like that, and I was back at shortstop and in the outfield and pitching. Never put that mask on again.
2-2 is popped straight up in the air. Calling for it is Foley behind second base, and he's got it. So the top of the order that's been on in the first and third got on again in the fifth. But this time, Bryn Smith quelled the uprising by getting a ground ball and then a pop-up. The Bats still have to go to work against Bob Forsch. This is Labatt Expos Baseball on TSN.
No love lost between the San Francisco Giants and the St. Louis Cardinals. Well, that might be as well for the New York Mets. Manager Whitey Herzog confiscated the bat of Howard Johnson during a game this season, and Mets manager Davey Johnson retaliated by having Bob Warner's bat confiscated. Well, umpire Frank Pulley in that ball game pulled a calf muscle very severely, and the 2 bats and umpire Frank Pulley went to the same place to be x-rayed.
The hospital?
No, they went to the Cardinals locker room there and had the x-ray machine.
The Pirates and the Expos will play on August the 10th here at Olympic Stadium, and all children 15 years of age or under, dressed in a uniform and accompanied by an adult, will be able to attend the game free of charge. This offer available at the ticket office only. I'm not sure if the accompanying adult has to be in uniform. But it might be a good idea if you're bringing your kid to dress up like him. Bob Forsch has been sharp tonight, and will go to work against the Expos here, having given up just 2 hits.
He's been around the corners, changed speeds well. He and Bryn Smith, a typical ball game, I would say, for both of them.
The odd hit here and there, some ground balls. More strikeouts from Forsch than one might expect. He's got 6 of them. And a close game, 2-0, the Cardinals lead.
In fact, the 6 strikeouts by Forsch is more than he's had in any other game this season. The maximum he's had is just 2 strikeouts in any ball game.
Tom Foley to be followed by Nelson Santavania and Rex Hudler in the Expos half of the 5th inning. You know, when you make your list of famous and great pitchers, there's a pretty good chance that Bob Forsch won't be on it. But this guy's had some great accomplishments. He's won 20 games in the major leagues. There's a ground ball, stabbed nicely by the first baseman Laga, covered nicely by Forsch and one away. Good defensive play.
Mike Laga was known primarily as a power hitter in the minor leagues. The Tigers were hoping to get him into Tiger Stadium, but here he shows some defensive dexterity, nice play, and an accurate throw. That's all part of the play, and Bob Forsch beats Foley to the back, and there's one down. Tigers were hoping to get the left-handed hitting Laga into Tiger Stadium, make use of that overhang out in right field, such as former Tiger first baseman Jason Thompson and Norm Cash were able to do over the years. Olaga now finds himself in spacious Busch Stadium as his home.
No overhang there. Just extra artificial turf. Nelson Santavania grounded out to the third baseman in the second. Now facing Bob Forsch, who has won 20 games in the major leagues. That was in 1977. He's thrown 2 no-hitters, one against the Montreal Expos, another against Philly. He's been in 3 World Series. Hit a grand slam. His win total won't match somebody like Tom Seaver, for example, at the mid-150, the 150 area. He got 154 to start this season. But he's been a very versatile pitcher and has been around for a long time, helping the Cards. 3-0 to Santavania.
One of the few times that Forsch has been behind on a hitter. Both times it's been to Santavania, 3-0.
They're just thinking as he threw that fastball, there's an opportunity to turn Santavania loose again. Here's the 3-1. Carbon copy of the last time Santavania was up. He hits a 3-1 fastball on the ground to the third baseman penalty.
Well, that pitch was out over the plate on the corner. Santavania tried to pull it. It appeared that Forsch took a little bit off of it to get him out in front. He hits it on the end of the bat into the gold glove of Terry Pendleton at third base. We probably have the 2 best fielding third basemen in the league playing tonight. And Pendleton, who was very good at foul balls down the line behind third base, and Tim Waller of the Expos.
Pop up, going back for it is Jose Oquendo, and he gets it. And this is smooth sailing for Bob Forsch as he gets the Expos in order for the second straight inning and has a 2-0 lead to work with after 5. This is Labatt Expos baseball on TSN. Now let's go to TSN Control for another sports update. Welcome back to Olympic Stadium in Montreal, where the Cardinals lead the Expos 2-0. Forsch over Smith in a well-pitched ball game to this point. A run in the first and a run in the third for the Cardinals, who have Brunensky, Luga, and Oquendo up against Smith here in the top of inning number 6. You take Bryn Smith's whole season, the innings pitched, the hits, the runs, and break it down, divided by his number of starts. This is his 20th. What you come up with is 6 2/3 innings for an average, 5 hits against, and 2.7 runs against. And that's not bad, and that's pretty much exactly the way it should be. That's Bryn Smith in a nutshell. He'll always give you 6 or 7 strong innings and keep your team in the ball game.
In fact, that's been the Expos pitching staff and the starters in a nutshell. Good changeup of Brunensky. Palm ball. Pitchers have a variety of ways of throwing a changeup. Neil Heaton said he changed his style of throwing it this year. 2 in a row to Brunensky. The hitter can look awful foolish. He's going for a little walk here to clear the fog out of his mind.
In order for that palm ball changeup to work, the fastball has to be working at, say, 85 to 88 miles an hour, and then this palm ball comes in at about 75. And you can understand how a hitter like Brunensky might get out ahead of it. But the key to the whole thing, and I guess the key to most pitchers' secondary pitches, if you will, is the fastball. Something has to set it up.
Not only that, it's arm speed. You have to make it look like you're throwing a fastball. You can't really... Some pitchers throw a changeup, and all of a sudden you see their arms slow down at the point of delivery, or you see fingers off of the ball. And from a hitter's standpoint, that's like a red flag. You know it's not the fastball, so it's got to be something off speed. Breaking ball, Brunensky out in front once again. Pops up into short left field. Hudler ranges back and makes the catch. So Brunensky retired on off-speed pitches.
Smith says when he's in trouble, It's when his fastball isn't fast enough, and therefore there isn't enough difference between the fastball and the changeup, so it doesn't catch the hitters off stride. Obviously tonight, although I haven't seen him use it that much earlier on, he's had it working against Brunansky on this occasion.
I saw that happen to a very good, successful pitcher, left-hander Scott McGregor. Had a good enough fastball, but his changeup was an excellent changeup. Saw hitters take swings almost falling down trying to hit him. But his fastball was good enough he could tie him up and in. Then all of a sudden he lost the fastball, and the two pitches became too close in speed. And that's when he started getting payback from the hitters around the American League, and eventually was released.
So the batter's just sitting there waiting on the pitch, knowing what's going to come.
Couldn't be fooled by the changeup, and they couldn't pass him with a fastball.
1-1 to Mike Laga. One away, top of the sixth, 2-0 Cardinals.
Makes it look easy, doesn't it?
A ball and 2 strikes.
If you watch Forsch and Smith very closely, one pitch sets up the next one. Not only what is thrown, but the location.
Pulled to right field by Laga. Into the glove of Hubie Brooks, who hasn't been a busy man tonight, but was awake for that one. The second time Mike Laga has hit a Bryn Smith offering to Hubie Brooks.
Laga's the only one to hit the ball in his direction. Hubie could have been asleep for the rest of the game, and he'd been okay. In fact, Hubie's made some fine plays in right field the last few ball games. Made a great catch in Cincinnati after a long run. The night before we did the game, made a great catch up against the wall, threw a runner out at home plate. Bryn Smith with a high fastball to a kendo. So Hubie Brooks turned into a more than adequate right fielder.
No defensive slouch. Jose Oquendo. The count is 1-1.
Oquendo reaching for his back. Might have wrenched something trying to hold up and swing at the same time.
That palm ball is becoming very apparent now. And part of the reason might be the third time through the order. Early in the game, Smith tried to establish his fastball, and the first time through likes to give them a different look. And the second time through, maybe a few more curved balls, and maybe the palm ball is his big pitch for the third time through the order. Something different.
That's the importance of changing speeds. Some pitchers' fastball slider, if it's not in good locations, hitters can turn that stuff around. Everything coming up there, they just look for something in a certain area, whether it be the fastball or the slider. If the pitcher makes a little bit of a mistake, gets it towards the middle of the plate, that's when you're talking Rocket City.
Pop-up, Hudler going back, but Martinez is coming in, and Dave Martinez, the center fielder, makes the catch. Bryn Smith has a solid 6th inning as he gets Brunansky, Laga, and Oquendo in order. All of them put the ball in the air. 2-0 Cards, middle of the 6th. This is Labatt Expos Baseball on TSN. The 29th of July. It's a Friday night at the fights. A boxing special with a pair of welterweight championships. Lloyd Hunnigan against the young Keel Chung for the WBC title. And then Marlon Starling against Tomas Molinares for the WBA title. 11:30 Eastern Time on TSN Friday nights. There's no truth to the rumor that the Giants and the Cardinals will be involved in the undercard. The Cardinals will be here against the Expos as this 4-game series continues. Tomorrow night it's Pascual Perez against Jose De Leon. Saturday, John Dobson against John Tudor. And Sunday, Dennis Martinez against Danny Cox.
Well, the Expos' job at hand is to try and break through against Bob Forsch, who's pitched such a fine ball game.
Forsch has given up just 2 hits, 1 to Rex Hudler, a bunt single, and a single to left field for Andres Galarraga. Now the Expos need runs. And it appears as though Buck Rogers will go to the bench in an effort to get to Bob Forsch. Bryn Smith is due up here in the bottom of the 6th. But Buck has got 6 solid innings out of Bryn Smith, and it seems as though he'll go to the bench as Otis Nixon warms up in the on-deck circle.
Kind of a tough decision for Buck. His pitcher's throwing the ball very well. Bryn not getting the offensive support. Something he has gotten very well the last couple of years. Expos scored close to 5 runs a ball game whenever Bryn Smith has started. So there's a decision for a manager. He has to take out a pitcher who's just given up 2 runs on 3 hits.
And has thrown just 85 pitches, even for Bryn Smith, who may have a more tender arm than some other pitchers. That's not an awful lot. Right-hander is Tim Barrett. The left-hander adjusting his hat is Neil Heaton. And the pinch hitter is Otis Nixon, and the move pays off immediately for Buck Rogers. Even hitting left-handed, his weak side, Otis Nixon has a single up the middle, and one of the fastest men in the league is aboard. The Labatt player of the game tonight for the Cardinals will receive a Weed Eater string trimmers that edge and blowers that beat raking. Garden and yard care the convenient way from Weed Eater.
Nixon not wasting any time, hitting Forsch's first pitch back into center field, and Forsch not wasting any time, checking Nixon at first base.
Otis Nixon has been 2 for his last 30 since the All-Star break. Coming into this game, needless to say, he'll welcome that hit. And he can fly with Dave Martinez up. Nixon on the base paths. 21 stolen bases, caught 3 times, but he's yet to be thrown out by a catcher. He's been picked off 3 times.
We expect a veteran like Forsch to have a good move to the plate, but he also has a high leg kick, and they will not get it.
Stolen base number 22 for Otis Nixon. Speed to burn.
As I mentioned, Forsch with the high leg kick, and that gives Nixon a few extra steps down to second. That's certainly something you don't want to give him. The head first slide. No chance.
Runner in scoring position. Bottom of the 6th, the tying run at the plate. The count is 1-1 on Dave Martinez, still looking for his first Expo hit. And Nixon, if he gets the opportunity, won't hesitate to go on to third.
You see the confusion, something that Vince Coleman is doing to the Expos tonight when he was on base. Infield is shortened up considerably. Nixon, you can see in your picture, but just beyond him is Jose Oquendo, the shortstop. That opens up the whole left side. If Dave Martinez would have slapped a ball, Terry Pendleton would have to get an extension to his arm to cover up that hole.
Nobody out. 2-1. Buck Rogers. Pinch hit for Bryn Smith. And it's paid off. Nixon's on second. Well, what a race we could have here tonight. Bring out Tracy Jones and Otis Nixon and Rex Hudler and Tim Raines and Vince Coleman and Willie McGee. If we could get Ben Johnson to come down, we could have an Olympic 100-meter.
Well, not only that, if you get the Cardinals to get 4 men together, get the Expos to get 4 men together, just have them race around the track here, relay. You can settle this ball game right quickly. Fastest team around is the winner.
It might be close too. Nixon's on his way to third. Martinez has his first base hit as an Expo and his second RBI. Nixon scores on cruise control, and it's 2-1 Cardinals.
Give Dave Martinez some credit. He wasn't distracted by the fact that Otis Nixon was taking off and going to third. He lines a shot into right field. The Expos are on the scoreboard. And the Cardinals are sending pitching coach Mike Rourke out to the mound to talk to Forsch. See how easily Nixon scores. Jackie Moore saying the ball's been hit. You can keep on going.
What a relief for Dave Martinez, who had gone 0 for 20 as an Expo before collecting that hit and cutting this Cardinal lead in half. The managerial decision by Buck Rogers to pinch hit for Bryn Smith pays off right away. A single, a stolen base, and another single by Dave Martinez. There's some action in the bullpen behind Bob Forsch. It's a familiar-looking pitcher out there warming up. There's not many like him.
Not many throw the ball this way, folks.
Dan Quisenberry.
Getting close to quiz time here at the Big O.
Unusual to see him in a Cardinal uniform, isn't it?
Well, at least he didn't have to leave the state to continue pitching. Still in Missouri. That's Tim Raines. You talk about speed the burn. The Expos now have Dave Martinez on. For the season, he's stolen 9 and just been caught 3 times. Pitched to Raines is low ball 1. And Tim Raines has struck out twice tonight. And you can be sure he's going to be a tough hombre at the plate this time up. Getting down to crunch time.
1-0. Expos now have 4 hits on Forsch, 2 consecutively in this inning. Hard cut by Raines, and he misses strike 1.
You got to think how much of that shoulder injury bothering Raines' swing. It didn't look like the familiar Raines quick cut on that last swing. Kind of a bailout. The left shoulder.
He seemed to let go with the left hand. Martinez with his lead. Tying run on first, the 1-1 pitch. Ball 2.
This would be a good pitch to send a runner. Forsch, capability of throwing strikes should be around the plate. Tim Raines could protect Martinez if he's on the move. Might open something up. Throw back, he's in safely. Forsch knows it too. Trying to keep him close. Give Pena a chance to throw him out.
Here's the 2-1 to Raines. On the ground, up the middle. Second baseman bobbles the ball. Jones over to first just in time to get Raines. No chance for the double play. Martinez is at second with 1 away.
Kind of an in-between hop for Jones, and this might have been the difference in them getting a double play. Ball hit right back through the middle. Perfect ball for 2, but he got caught with the ball coming off of the dirt on the hop instead of hitting the AstroTurf. Maybe that's why Jones had problems coming up with it, but had presence of mind to throw the ball to first base and get Tim Raines.
Dave Martinez at second base. Coming over to talk to Bobby Winkle. There'll be a pitching change here as Whitey Herzog is at the mound. Bob Forsch has done a pretty good job as a spot starter for the St. Louis Cardinals. Just his 6th start of the year. He's given up just 4 hits in his time in the game and will leave with a 2-1 lead after just 72 pitches. But he'll make way for the quiz. Dan Quisenberry, the former Royal, comes on. Forsch goes, quiz is in. This pitching change is brought to you by Remington.
Dan Quisenberry, after all the years of coming out of the bullpen for the Kansas City Royals, is now pitching for the 10th time in the St. Louis Cardinal uniform. He has finished 4 games for St. Louis this year, has yet to pick up a save. He is used more now in the setup role for Todd Worrell, the hard-throwing right-hander. But watch the delivery of Quisenberry, for those of you who are not familiar with him after all the years in the American League. And I think the key to hitting Dan Quisenberry, his first pitch to any hitter, he relies on his his motion to confuse the hitter, and he'll go for the middle of the plate. He has excellent control, doesn't walk many hitters, and once he gets ahead of the hitter, he starts to go for the corners. So the key to hitting Quisenberry, at least I always thought, was hitting that first pitch, which was usually near the middle of the plate. And the left-handed hitters began to hit him a lot better over the last few years. That's when he really ran into problems. Right-handers, he still can be very difficult to hit, but left-handers, you see the ball a lot longer from the left-hand side. See it right here, how difficult that could be for a right-handed hitter, but for a lefty, it gives you more time to see it. If his ball's not sinking well, left-handed hitters can do some damage.
Galarraga will be the first hitter that Quisenberry will face. And this will be a first for Galarraga.
Quiz is also known for some of his great quotes. Said he's never had arm problems facing Galarraga. He said, "My arm has never spoken back to me, but my wife is not the same as my arm."
Quiz has a runner to deal with that on second base. That's Dave Martinez. The tying run it is. Cardinals leading 2-1, bottom of the sixth, and 1 out. Galarraga 1 for 2, a single in the first. He struck out in the fourth.
You see that first pitch almost right down the middle. It did have some movement on it. Galarraga fouls it off. It takes a while for hitters to get used to Quisenberry's delivery, and maybe you never do as a right-handed hitter. 4-0. The Cubs leading the Phillies in the 6th inning. The Yankees in Milwaukee. The Yankees got a big night out of Dave Winfield last night. 5 RBIs, a pair of home runs. No score tonight in New York. The Orioles have lost to Cleveland 11 straight times over 2 years. Maybe it's coming to an end tonight.
Here in Montreal, the Expos trying to extend a winning streak to 5 are down 2-1 to the Cardinals. They have a runner on second base with 1 out in the 6th, and Galarraga at the plate. And the count is 0-2. His old team's in trouble. 6-1 Detroit in the 6th.
California Angels on top of the White Sox. That score is 1-0 in the 2nd.
That's Jeff Robinson pitching for Detroit again tonight. Having such a great season. Can you imagine the Tigers being where they are without Jack Morris doing anything?
I like what Sparky Anderson had to say. Dave Martinez taking off for third. The throw will not be in time. Well, Dave Martinez making a bid to be on the Expos track team on his way to third base. Pendleton not even able to get to the bag in time to make a tag. Martinez safe at third. So now the Cardinals are forced to bring the infield in with 1 out. Quisenberry relying on that sinker ball, trying to get Galarraga to hit it on the ground.
3 steals tonight, 16 in the last 8 games for Montreal, and counting as Galarraga fouls it off. 1-2.
Just got a piece of that to stay alive. Quisenberry threw that one just down the middle, but it had some movement on it. Good sinking action. Here's where you need that uppercut swing.
But a 3-iron wouldn't hurt. Galarraga got a piece of it, but Pena caught the ball. And there's strikeout number 1 for Dan Quisenberry, the 2nd strikeout of the night for Galarraga.
Galarraga has been slumping of late. Quisenberry's fastball is not all that hard. In fact, at times he said it doesn't register on the radar gun, but barely over 80 miles an hour. He relies on the way it moves and sinks and darts up at the plate.
2 away. Tying run remains at third base. QB Brooks is the batter. 0 for 2 tonight. Has struck out and grounded out.
The Expos have relied on some clutch hitting, if not a lot of hitting since the All-Star break. Are they getting used to situations like this when they feel they can score when their backs are against the wall?
Hubie got around on that in an awful hurry. Fouled it into the Cardinal dugout.
Count 1-1. Quiz has had excellent control over the years. Does not walk many hitters. The tying run, 90 feet away, maybe just 85 with the lead.
A 1-1 from the Quiz to Hubie Brooks. Over the head of Tim Jones. To the wall. Extra bases for Brooks. More importantly, the runs in and the game is tied.
Yet another two-out hit for the Expos. Hubie Brooks runs one towards Gap City in right center field. Brunansky pulling it off the wall. A double for Hubie Brooks. Those two-out hits are like gold. The ball game is all tied up.
The 64th RBI of the season for Hubie Brooks. He's tied for 4th in the National League. And the Expos are tied with the Cards at 2. Now Tim Wallach has a chance with a two-out hit to drive in the go-ahead run. Wallach was renowned last year for driving in runs with 2 outs. Had a mind to go after that pitch and then lead off 1-1.
Wallach just 236 with runners in scoring position.
Rally started by the pinch hitter Otis Nixon. Since then, 2 singles and a double. The Expos are back in it. Pulled foul by Wallach. Single and a stolen base by Nixon. Single and an RBI for Dave Martinez, who had a stolen base and scored on a Brooks double.
Well, Bryn Smith cannot be the loser in this ball game, but he can be the winner if the Expos pick up this run.
And wouldn't Wallach love to hand it to him?
You notice how dejected Bryn was after he came out of the game. He feels he had done a fine job. He wants that runner in to come in from second base.
I asked him if he was steamed about being pulled on Saturday after 7 two-hit innings, the 1-0 lead as he encourages Wallach, and he said no. He said one of the things Buck Rogers is good at is bringing a pitcher out of the game on a high, on a very positive note, when he's done his job and has a lead. Wallach waited on that, hit it off the fist. It's in the air. Coleman dashing over to get it. And an outfielder with less speed might have had trouble getting that. But not Vince Coleman. Bryn Smith won't be able to get the win, but his team may be able to. Tied 2-2 after 6. This is Labatt Expos Baseball on TSN. The score is tied at Olympic Stadium, 2-2 as we go to the top of the 7th inning. Bryn Smith gave the Expos a solid 6 innings of 3 hit ball, gave up 2 runs, and now we'll sit on the bench and watch as the left-hander Neil Heaton takes over. This pitching change is brought to you by Skill.
Skill Power Tools, makers of the Skill Twist and Super Twist cordless power screwdrivers. Get relief from sore aching wrists and get the job done fast. When the pressure's on, count on Skill at hardware stores and home centers everywhere.
New pitcher for the Expos, left-hander Neil Heaton. Since moving to the bullpen following his June 13th start for the Expos, he's 1-1 with a pair of saves and a 1.69 ERA in 12 ball games. So Neil Heaton, high fastball inside to Tony Pena. Neil Heaton and Joe Hesketh form a pretty good 1-2 left-handed punch out of the Expo bullpen. Getting used to that role of a reliever. On call at all times. Something like a baby doctor, I guess.
A change defensively behind Neil Heaton. Tim Raines' left shoulder is obviously bothering him. He's out of the game, and Otis Nixon stays in and plays left field. 2 balls and a strike. From Heaton to the free-swinging Tony Pena. Had a pretty good career against Montreal. He's hit 16 home runs against the Expos. The work by Bryn Smith tonight constitutes another quality start for an Expo pitcher. A quality start being 6 innings or more with 3 runs or less against.
That's why they make you wear a mask.
So the Expos now have 30 quality starts from their starters in their last 34 games. Pena hits this one to the wall and left. Rounds first, is on his way to second. Might be a play. The throw is offline. Seems anybody else on that Cardinal team might have been to second standing up, but those catchers' knees wouldn't get Pena there any quicker.
Nice play on the rebound by Otis Nixon in left field. But watch it throw a little bit towards the infield side, and Pena is able to sneak in the back door.
Turned so wide around first, he must have wanted to say something to Hubie Brooks. Neil Heaton surrenders the leadoff double in the top of the 7th, and now Nelson Santavena will come out and talk to Neil.
Heaton comes in with a chance to be a winner in this ball game. Cardinals had the leadoff runner on second base. Rookie Tim Jones at the plate. The Expos expecting the bunt at the corners. Galarraga and Wallach both in. There it is, but it will roll foul.
Jones is 0 for 2 and 0 for St. Louis this season. Now 8 at-bats. He doesn't have a hit yet and is not being called upon to get one here. Jones in just his 3rd start tonight. The 0-1 with Pena taking his lead out second. Squares to bunt. Fouls it off again.
Let's see if manager Whitey Herzog decides to stay with the bunt. Pena returning to second base. Rookie Tim Jones checking the sign from Nick Leyva. He's in a big hole, no balls and 2 strikes. Dan Quisenberry is in the on-deck circle, but I think that's just camouflage, not to let Buck Rogers know who will be pinch hitting. The Cardinals do have some action in the bullpen, and as we speak, Quisenberry's going back to the dugout.
Strikeout for Neil Heaton, his first of the night, 1 away.
Big strikeout for Heaton. The runner does not advance from second base. Breaking ball, slider, middle of the plate. He swung it over it. The fact is Heaton was able to come through and pick up a big strikeout when he needed to. Manager Whitey Herzog is going to his bench.
Looks like Tom Pagnozzi will come to the plate to pinch hit for Dan Quisenberry.
Pagnozzi, right-handed hitter, coming off the bench. Catcher by trade. Plays a little bit of first base at times for Whitey Herzog.
2 for 19 this season as a pinch hitter. .280 average overall for Tom Pagnozzi. And a chance to pick up his 8th RBI here with Tony Pena at second base. Although Pena is not an automatic to score from there. missed, and it's 1-1.
Nazi's had some pretty good averages in the minor leagues. He's hit over 300 a couple of occasions. In fact, 3 occasions. 310 at Erie in 1983. Fastball fouled out of play. 309 at Arkansas, Double-A. He also hit 313 at Triple-A at Louisville last season. So this young man out of Tucson, Arizona, can swing the bat.
2-2 tie in the top of the 7th. We shouldn't be surprised that it's a close game. The Cardinals have played in 35 one-run games this season. The Expos in 33. Both pretty low-scoring teams, and Whitey Herzog trying to work a run out of his team right now to get a lead. A communication problem here right now.
For a second, I thought it was a balk being called on Neil Heaton, but catcher Nelson Sanavenia had called for time. They might be changing the signs here. Pena being a catcher, easy for him to figure out what the signs might be. And there's subtle ways to relay what the pitch is to the hitter. See? Yeah, I'm checking you guys out.
Heaton steps up and Pena goes back.
Pena had a little bit bigger lead than he'd had on the previous pitches. Although he's a catcher wearing steel-toed shoes, Pena still runs pretty well.
1-2 is fouled off. Vince Coleman is on deck. There's one away in the top of the 7th inning. The Expos with 2 runs in the bottom of the 6th. The Cardinals got a run in the 1st and another run in the 3rd, both scored by Vince Coleman.
In fact, Pena has stolen as many as 12 bases in a season. It's going back when he was with the Pirates in 84 and 85. Breaking ball.
Base hit up the middle. Martinez charges it. The throw is up the line, and he had to have had a bullet right on the money to have any chance of getting Pena, who had a pretty good jump. And the Cardinals have the lead again at 3-2 on the RBI pinch hit single by Tom Pagnozzi.
Well, the pitch was not where Neil Heaton wanted it. Breaking ball in the middle of the plate, hit in the center field. Martinez has a great throwing arm. But as you say, he would have had to put this right on the money, and no chance to get Pena, who had a good jump off second base. So the leadoff double pays off for the Cardinals. They retake the lead.
Runner on first base and one away for Vince Coleman, who's walked twice and doubled. Pagnozzi on first does not have a stolen base, nor has he been caught. He may be the exclusive stationary Cardinal.
You notice Vince Coleman pulling that ball sharply. Right-handed, he has more of a powerful swing. Left-handed, he's more of a slap hitter. Right-handed, you better watch out. He can juice one every once in a while. Fly ball into right center. Should be no problem for Dave Martinez.
Pagnozzi comes back to first base. 2 away then. Coleman has kept off the paths for the first time in 4 appearances. And that'll bring Willie McGee to the plate. Willie's been aboard on an error tonight, grounded out, and hit into a fielder's choice.
McGee started tonight hitting .303, and right now he's down to .301. But you look at his averages overall, 300 right-handed. He started out tonight .305 left-handed, so just about equal from both sides of the plate. So you don't lose much one way or the other with Willie McGee at the plate. He's hit 2 home runs. Both of them have come as a left-handed hitter.
Here's the 1-0. Fouled away, 1-1. The attendance tonight at Olympic Stadium, 20,757. 20,757. The Expos are about 48,000 behind last year's attendance at this point. Broken bat off the fists. Willie's still vibrating as he gets to first, and is an out as Tom Foley throws out Willie McGee. Neil Heaton surrenders a run on a double and a single. A run on 2 hits. Time for the 7th inning stretch at Olympic Stadium. This is Labatt Expos baseball on TSN. Tom Foley got the last out of the last inning, is now the batter to face the new St. Louis pitcher. He's now a second baseman, and that's just another infield position for a versatile defensive player Foley.
For the past 5 years, it was shortstop, and now it's turned into second base. I'm not playing much shortstop with Rex Hudler playing there and Louis playing there also. I guess I'll be platooning second base most of the time, and I kind of like it. It was a shorter throw, and whereas shortstop, you just got to let it out all the time.
Foley will have a bat in his hands the next time we see him, as he'll come on to face the 3rd St. Louis pitcher. It was Forsch, then Quisenberry, and now Scott Terry. This pitching change is brought to you by Remington.
Scott Terry used basically in the role as a setup man for Todd Worrell. Herzog likes to go to Worrell in the 8th and 9th innings. Terry is a pretty hard-throwing right-hander. Has a good overhand curveball out of Hobbs, New Mexico. And right now entrusted with a 1-run Cardinal lead. Terry 2 and 3. Just coming off the disabled list for the Cardinals. Another one of the number of flightless birds during this season.
I would think he's around to pitch the 7th inning and try and get to Todd Worrell. Might be a little early for Whitey Herzog to go to Worrell. He doesn't want him to have to pitch 3 innings, I suppose. So he gets one out of Terry here if he can, then hand the ball to Todd.
Either Todd Worrell or left-handed Ken Daly, who's the left-handed closer.
Although the Expos are a pretty successful team against left-handers with a 1-run lead, he might want to stick with Worrell here. Foley against Terry. Ball 1. The league is hitting .262 against Scott Terry. The 1-0 pitch. Ball 2, 2-0. Cardinals leading 3-2 in the bottom of the 7th inning. Both teams have 5 hits. First game in a 4-game weekend series. Pascual Perez against Jose De Leon tomorrow night. Dobson and Tudor on Saturday. Martinez and Cox on Sunday. 3-0 from Terry. In danger of putting the leadoff man aboard.
Cardinals got Terry in exchange for Pat Perry from the Cincinnati Reds. A deal back on September 3rd of '87. Ball 4.
Another suspicious start for Scott Terry as he walks Tom Foley. Tying run is aboard.
So I'm sure the clubhouse men were thrilled with that deal. After all, they only had to change letters on 1 letter on each uniform when the players arrived in town. Larry McWilliams may be called upon to face just 1 hitter. Whitey Herzog having a left-hander available.
Nelson Sandavania is 0 for 2 tonight. Both of those at-bats were against Bob Forsch. Tom Foley has stolen the base, has been caught once. Bunted foul, strike 1, 0-1.
So Buck Rogers playing for the tying run. Trying to advance Foley to second base. He has Hudler in the on deck circle. And Otis Nixon hitting in the pitcher spot. Heaton, who came in the game, will be in Range's spot, second in the order. Sandavania squares around early. Fouls another one off.
Maybe he's out of practice. Unusual for a player like Sandavania to be called upon to sacrifice, and here he is 0-2 now with Foley on first, and Jackie Moore flashes the signals to Sandavania and Foley.
Usually before each ball game, when the players take batting practice, they're called upon to bunt 1 or 2. Now that's not much in the way of practice, and their pitchers are kind of laying the ball right in there. It's easier to bunt during batting practice.
Swinging away now and fouls it off. 0-2 count remains.
But you're right, it is sort of a lost art in the big leagues. Bunting is not what it used to be. And I think a lot of it has to do with artificial turf. It's very hard to deaden the ball.
Here's the 0-2 from Terry. Could be 2. Oquendo to Jones and over to Laga. A double play. 6-4-3, and there's 2 out.
The ability or the inability to get the ball down in a sacrifice situation has cost the Expos here. Sandavania, any ground ball to the middle of the infield can be turned around as a double play. He does not run all that well. Jose Oquendo starting the twin killing in the image of an Ozzie Smith.
So Whitey Herzog breathes a sigh of relief, and Terry works to Rex Hudler, who's been aboard with a bunt single, stolen the base and popped up. A perfect example of how speed can intimidate. That ball is fouled off John McSherry.
Says, I'm from the Bronx, I'm tough.
Last Thursday night in Cincinnati. Friday night, actually, Hudler got aboard on an infield hit, stole second, stole third, and scored on a throwing error trying to catch him at third base. He can be a one-man gang. Here's the 1-1 from Terry. Strike in the outside corner, 1-2.
Hudler hasn't gotten much of a chance to face right-handers until a recent injury to Luis Rivera.
Fly ball left center. Willie McGee is over and underneath it. And Scott Terry gave up a leadoff walk, but got the double play ball, and then a fly ball from Hudler, and has done his job as he has the Cardinals out of the 7th with a 3-2 lead. This is Labatt Expos baseball on TSN. A walk and an error caused the Expos trouble in the top of the first inning tonight, and with Terry Pendleton at the plate, Vince Coleman on third, and Willie McGee on first, the Expos tried to turn a double play, couldn't get Pendleton, and Coleman came in to score to make it 1-0. It was 2-0 on a pair of hits in the third. Then in the bottom of the 6th, the Expos got 3 hits, the last of which came off reliever Dan Quisenberry. A double by Hubie Brooks to score a run, and the Expos had tied the game 2-2. But in the 7th, Whitey Herzog went to his bench and called upon Tom Pagnozzi to pinch hit for Quisenberry. Tony Pena had doubled and was on second. He scored on this hit. A pinch hit single by Pagnozzi, and the Cardinals had reestablished the lead. And now it is 3-2 as we go to the top of the 8th inning, and the Cardinals up again with a 1-run lead.
Terry Pendleton will lead it off for the Cardinals. The count is no balls and a strike. Pendleton, this is his strong side. 303 hitter, right-handed. 250 hitter, left-handed. Up and in, straightens him up. The count evens up to 1 ball and a strike.
This is Neil Heaton's 2nd inning of work. The Pagnozzi single to score Pena came off of Neil Heaton. Fly ball, shallow center for Dave Martinez, and 1 away. Scott Terry having done his job. Todd Worrell is now warming up in the Cardinal bullpen.
It's almost as if you're playing a 7-inning ball game against teams with the big closers. Cardinals, Worrell.
Better get to him early.
Cincinnati, Franco. Over the American League, the A's, Eckersley.
The Indians, Jones.
It's almost as if you're playing to keep those guys out of the ball game.
Ball and a strike. To Tom Brunansky. 0 for 3. Brunansky started out as a California Angel. That's the team that drafted him. Traded over to Minnesota and then on to St. Louis for Tommy Herr.
Well, one name I left off that list, Steve Bedrosian. He missed 37 games, and he's just 1 behind John Franco for the league leading saves in the National League.
Now, do you think the Phillies would have been any better off in the standings had he been there from the start?
It's kind of hard to say. Maybe they would have tailored their ball games a little differently. You know, use setup men a little differently trying to get to Bedrosian. It'd be interesting to see how many games the Phillies actually blew before they got to that situation. Herzog checking the lineup card. Steady diet of off-speed stuff. They tried to sneak a fastball by Brunansky. Heaton misses. The count goes to 2-2.
Heaton misses 3-2. The count is full to Tom Brunansky with Mike Laga on deck.
Brunansky has 14 home runs so far this year for the Cardinals. I believe that 6 of them have come against the San Diego Padres.
Pop-up should be a play here. Galarraga waves off Santovania and makes the catch 2 away. There'll be no home run here against the Expos as Galarraga catches the pop-up. Galarraga looks on as Mike Laga comes to the plate. Laga has hit 2 fly balls to Hubie Brooks in right field. In between, grounded out to the second baseman Foley.
Laga primarily a pull hitter. Defensed accordingly by the Expos. With 2 outs, Tim Foley well back in right field. Heaton quickly ahead. No balls and 2 strikes. See Foley. Dave Martinez in center, pulled over towards the right side. UB Brooks very close to the line and right. Big gap in left center.
Here's the 0-2. Pulled foul. Tulaga has never been able to stick in the majors. He's been an 8-year pro, but the last 6 years he's had parts of each season in the minors and the majors.
Even the ball girl had him played the pull, and she was right on the money on that foul ball.
Brooks is awake and right. Ooh, that was close. 1-2.
Watch the way Nelson Sanavenia catches this last pitch. Tries to frame it for John McSherry. Maybe move it over an inch or two. Didn't fool him. Pitch was just outside. Try and move that glove. Catch it. Just pull it over as you're catching it. Every once in a while, you get one of those called for you.
Here's the 1-2. Pulled, and this time it's foul. Just.
Laga has a very quick swing. Anything on the inner half of the plate, Larry Poncino makes the call. As you notice, the stern talk that was directed at first base coach Rick Hacker. Right down the line. Woo.
Laga's average at 167. You can understand why he's a little miserable that wasn't called a fair ball.
You begin to wonder as a hitter, what am I going to have to do? I'm not going to get a pitch like that again, particularly in this at-bat.
He won't make the park any bigger. The count is now 2-2 on Mike Laga. We're in the top of the 8th inning. The Cardinals 3, the Expos 2. Each team has 5 hits. Single runs in the first, third, and 7th for the Cardinals. 2 runs in the bottom of the 6th for the Expos. Here's the 2-2. And the count goes full.
From a hitter's standpoint now, it's time to put up or shut up. 3-2. Look for something in the middle of the plate and go for it.
Sanavenia couldn't hang on. Laga obviously got a piece of it, and the count remains at 3-2. Whitey Herzog passing the time with Ozzie Smith.
Played it. Gonna play tomorrow, Oz?
Mike Laga throws his bat and his helmet down in disgust. He had an almost double into the corner. Almost. Neil Heaton gets the strikeout. 3 up, 3 down for Heaton in the 8th. This is Labatt Expos Baseball on TSN.
Hi, I'm Dan Quisenberry with the St. Louis Cardinals. And please hang around after the game because I'm going to be hanging around for the extra inning show. It's a late inning show. That's what I've done most of my career. And you got a chance to call me collect or call Kenny collect or ask for a loan, and I'll give you some money so you can make a phone call.
I might take him up on that offer myself. Extra innings with the quiz. The quiz starts immediately following this ball game. There's the number to call. Get your questions ready. And prepare for our quiz show. Todd Worrell is on. It's Worrell time here. The quiz has worked his inning tonight. Scott Terry has worked, and now Worrell is on. The pitching change is brought to you by Skill.
Manager Whitey Herzog goes to his ace right-hander out of the bullpen, Todd Worrell, in a save situation. He picks one up tonight that would give him a tie with Cincinnati's John Franco for the league lead with 20 saves apiece. Worrell, he of the 90-mile-an-hour fastball and a slider up around 87, 88 miles an hour. And he can be a flamethrower.
Nixon, Martinez, and Heaton scheduled, although it would be very unlikely that Heaton would bat.
Cardinals have also made another change. Defensively in right field, replacing Tom Brunansky as the speedster, Kurt Ford. So the Cardinals going for speed, and the Expos have speed leading off, and Otis Nixon.
Nixon singled to start a 2-run 6th inning, stole a base and eventually scored on a Martinez single. It's been hot in here all night, and the Cardinals have just turned up the heat by turning loose Todd Worrell. Strike called by John McSherry, 1-1.
Worrell, the first pitcher in history to have 30 or more saves in his first 2 seasons in the majors. 1986, 36 saves. 87, he had 33. Comes out of the pen, breathing fire.
Here's the 2-1. Nixon trying to bunt his way aboard. This might be perfect. It is. Bunt single.
Now the key on this play is getting the ball past Todd Worrell, and once Worrell can't get it, it's all over with. Might as well hold on to it. It's a base hit.
Nixon was watching him all the way and still running fast. It's like driving at 80 and looking out the side window.
Daring him to throw you out. Now right here, interesting situation for the Expos. Leadoff man is on, but it's Otis Nixon. Does manager Buck Rogers go with the bunt, or does he let Nixon steal second and then have Martinez try and get him over to third?
Nixon's on his way. Pena with the throw. Not in time.
Does that answer your question?
Yeah, it certainly does.
Stolen base number 23.
Off and running on the first pitch to the plate. That was a little closer. At least they got to tag him. Watcher Kendo slapped the tag on the back of Nixon. His left hand is already in there. So now, does Dave Martinez try and get him over to third with a bunt?
Similar situation in the 6th. Martinez slapped a single to right field, and Otis Nixon scored from second.
You notice when he gets on base, the crowd comes alive. Things happen in the infield. Infielders are out of position. It's almost as if the crowd is expecting him to go on every pitch. Steal second, third, home.
There's the bunt. Beauty. They're going to wait till the roll's foul, though, and it will accommodate. It looked like a great bunt, but it just had enough spin on it to carry it foul.
That's the difference between artificial turf and a grass field such as Wrigley Field. That ball was a perfect bunt. It would have stayed fair on a grass field and might have been a base hit for Dave Martinez. On artificial turf, like you have all over baseball, the ball rolls foul.
in Wrigley Field where he came from, he might have been able to get the job done. Chicago 5, Philadelphia nothing. Kansas City and Detroit. That's a one-hitter for Jeff Robinson tonight. Now 12-4 for the Tigers. One and one count here to Martinez. Nixon leading off second, and it's fouled away. 1-2. Yankees down by a couple. They'll move on to play the Toronto Blue Jays for the weekend. Wonder if Jordan Bell will be off the Pines. California and Chicago in the 5th. Here it's St. Louis 3, Montreal 2. Bottom of the 8th, the runner on second base. And Dave Martinez has struck out. One away for Todd Worrell.
Breaking ball. Most hitters have to look for that fastball off of Worrell because it's so fast, but he goes to the breaking ball, gets Martinez to commit. Manager Buck Rogers commits himself to the bench to make a move here.
Pena comes out to talk to Worrell. The other infielders come in to join in. Maybe they're talking about Mr. Pinch, the man due at the plate. And now getting a round of applause, Wallace Johnson has started the comeback rallies in the 11th 2 nights ago, in the 9th last night. Now has 14 pinch hits on the season to lead the National League. And last year, he and Lee Mazzilli led the National League with 17 pinch hits. And the crowd here appreciates the work that Johnson has done.
Well, one thing that Johnson does so well coming off the bench for Buck Rogers, he's able to put the bat on the ball. Almost takes what the pitcher's willing to give him. If he tries to jam him, he pulls the ball. Has the ability to slap the outside pitch to the opposite field and put the ball in play. Mr. Pinch, Wallace Johnson.
Pinch hitting for Neil Heaton.
I mentioned the Tigers winning tonight. The Yankees are behind. Detroit wins the ball game. The Yankees go on to lose. The Tigers take over first place. American League East. The Expos trying to push a run across to tie it up here.
Wallace Johnson has been called upon as a pinch hitter mostly to lead off innings. That's why he only has 1 RBI as a pinch hitter this season. He got 12 last year. He's .455. That's his average leading off an inning as a pinch hitter. .326 his pinch hitting average overall. Now Wally will go through his routine. He'll twitch a little.
Gyrations at the plate. A lot of pinch hitters feel that first swing should be a good one. Loosen yourself up. It's not easy sitting around 6, 7, 8 innings, then being called upon. Swinging a 90-mile-an-hour fastball.
Nixon's on his way to third base, and there'll be no throw from Pena. Third stolen base of the night, 24th of the season for Otis Nixon. Tying runs on third with 1 out.
Cardinals now forced to bring the infield in. We talk about one-man gang of Hudler. Another gang's in town today. Otis Nixon.
Fly ball deep, and well, it doesn't even have to be very deep to tie this game now. Hard cut by Johnson. He misses 1 and 2.
Should be no mystery as to what Worrell is thinking. He's thinking of the big strikeout.
Seldom thinks of anything else.
He's got the capabilities of getting it. 1 and 2.
Nixon off third. Backed him up.
You saw John McSherry almost come up and make the call. Slider a little bit high. Worrell with 59 strikeouts in 63 innings, so that's a good indication of what kind of smoke he's throwing to the plate.
Here's the 2-2 to Johnson. Bam! Squirts away from Pena, and the game is tied 3-3.
Otis Nixon, a bunt, single, a stolen base at third, and a wild pitch brings him home. The Expos score a run without the ball leaving the infield. That's what speed can do for you. 3-3 ball game.
Wallace Johnson did well to get out of the way of that and not be hit. And now he's got to walk. Remember, there's just one away. Go-ahead runs on first.
Manager Buck Rogers checked with Wallace Johnson at first base about a hamstring injury. Wallace turned to Buck in the dugout and said, "I'm okay, I can stay in." Buck was going to put a pinch runner in. It might be something to watch for as Wallace is rounding the bases, or if he gets a chance to round the bases.
Having used Nixon already in this game, the next available pinch runner is likely Pascual Perez.
You ever notice whenever Buck puts him in the run, he usually scores?
Yeah.
Pascual just hanging around.
One and 0. Go-ahead run on first. Andres Galarraga singled and struck out twice. Pascual's loosening up, getting set. Fly ball right field. Kurt Ford is way back in the track, makes the catch, and there's two away as Johnson retreats to first base. And the batter will be Hubie Brooks. Buck Rogers would have loved to have that runner get into scoring position. Hubie Brooks doubled to drive in a run in the sixth to tie the game at 2. Ground ball charged by Tim Jones. And Brooks is thrown out for the final out of the 8th. But the Expos get a run on a bunt single, 2 stolen bases by Otis Nixon, and he scored on a wild pitch from Todd Worrell. Hang on, we're going to the 9th. Still no decision. This is Labatt Expos baseball on TSN. Now let's go to TSN Control for another sports update. Tim Burke follows Bryn Smith and Neil Heaton as the third Expo pitcher of the night. Burke pitched 2 nights ago, an inning against the Chicago Cubs, and gave up 2 hits and a run. But the Expos came back and won the game on the grand slam by Mike Fitzgerald in the 11th. On the weekend, though, in Cincinnati, Burke had 3 saves against the Reds to get up to 9 on the season. Jeff Parrott on the DL. Eligible to come off over the weekend, but not likely to pitch for a few days. Jose Oquendo, the first batter against Tim Burke.
Have to watch out for the bunt with Oquendo at the plate. Up and in, ball 1. Wallach even with the bag at third. Galarraga in a few steps at first base. As advertised, a tight ball game.
Is there anything else with the Expos?
Very rarely that you see Expos fans here at the Big O leave before the 7th inning. Good shot at the inner defense for Montreal.
1-1 pitch is hit to Hubie Brooks in right field, and he's there to make the catch, 1 away. That'll bring Tony Pena, the catcher, to the plate. Mentioned Jeff Parrott on the disabled list. Another Expo pitcher is back in Montreal, not disabled, but suspended. Floyd Yeomans has spent a month in the Drug Rehabilitation Center, is back in Montreal, awaiting word from the National League on the length of his suspension and when he might be able to start pitching again. There's yet to be word from the National League. So he may or may not pitch again this year. Even if he's allowed to come back, there's still a considerable amount of time to get ready to pitch.
You have to wonder, even if he is suspended for the rest of the season, will he be able to work out with the ball club? Or work out while the team's on the road?
And with a starting staff that's as good as gold right now, you have to wonder where he fits in if he's allowed to come back. Larry Bernard, the pitching coach. Had some easier nights lately, hasn't he? I mean, with the starters anyway.
I think every night, not only the fans, but the players and coaches are on the edge of their seats.
For 3-0 now.
Burke falls behind. Tony Pena trying to duck that pitch.
3-1. Top of the ninth inning, one away, and a 3-3 tie. The Cardinals and the Expos.
Like former catcher Jeff Reed, former Expo catcher Jeff Reed. Pena swings and misses. Pena wears his glasses behind the plate when he's catching as well as when he's hitting. Jeff Reed would wear them when he was hitting, but not when he was catching.
Notice Pena didn't wear them while he was running. So maybe he couldn't have been stealing signs down at second base.
2 out of 3 is not bad.
Pop-up, play for Galarraga. Makes the catch 2-0. Burke gets the first 2. Tim Jones, the second baseman, is the batter. Jones still looking for his first hit as a Cardinal. Popped up, grounded out, and struck out. And there's the first base hit for rookie Tim Jones. It's a 2-out single in the top of the ninth. Just the 6th hit of the night for the Cardinals.
The ball will be saved for the rookie. That's a good feeling. You get down and you feel like you have the weight of the world off your shoulders. Jones had, it's like a fastball down and in. Drops the big head of the bat on it. Lines it into right field for a base hit. Jones had gone 0 for 9 for that base hit. He's got good speed at first base as another speedster comes up. That's Kurt Ford. So he beat me by 2. I was 0 for 11 before I got my first hit.
Weight off his shoulders tonight. Dave Martinez likewise, although he has his first major league hit. He finally got his first as an Expo tonight. Kurt Ford now the right fielder.
Kurt Ford went to Jackson State University. Former teammate of Dennis Oil Can Boyd. He of the streaking Boston Red Sox.
Jones was running, but Ford was lining right to Tom Fuller. And so the Cardinals are finished in the top of the ninth. Oh, will there be ninth inning heroics tonight? Mike Fitzgerald hasn't appeared in this game yet. 3-3. This is Labatt Expos Baseball on TSN. Back in the dugout, there's Mike Mike Fitzgerald, a grand slam in the 11th 2 nights ago. A single to drive in the winner last night. 2 game-winning RBIs the last 2 nights. Will he get an opportunity this evening?
You notice how he's lurking in the darkness there. Manager Buck Rogers does not want Fitzgerald out in the light where the Cardinals can see him. Well out in the bullpen beyond the left field fence. That's the secret weapon.
He's been out there warming up the relievers, loosening up, getting set. Todd Worrell is back on the mound, and the Expos have a pretty good part of the order coming up, with Wallach to lead things off for Buck Rogers in the bottom of the 9th. Twice the Expos have come from behind to tie this up tonight, but they've yet to take the lead.
Good place for a man with power to be up.
Real fastball coming up. He's got to meet it.
And then to have the pitcher fall behind on the count.
A ball and no strikes. The 2-0.
The clock thickens.
Wallach trying to extend a hitting streak to 6 games. Here's the 2-0. 2-1.
Won't do it like that. Chasing a pitch well out of the strike zone. That's when you're guessing fastball and you get it. You got one thing on your mind, ending this ball game. See Tim a little upset with himself. Really where you got to zone in, bring that pitcher into right where you want it.
Here's the 2-1. Fouled back, and Worrell has battled back even in the count.
It's almost as if Wallach has let his chance slip away by swinging at that 2-0 pitch that was out of the zone. The pitchers do make mistakes. Slider just misses 3-2.
Now Wallach may be back in the driver's seat once again.
Worrell just missed with his slider. He wasn't happy with that last call.
So maybe he'll dig a little deeper. Here's the 3-2 to Wallach. Got underneath it. And hit a fly ball to left field. Coleman makes the catch. Through a few oohs and ahs. But that's all.
Worrell went to the slider, 3-2. Wallach just out in front of it. Put a good swing on it. The timing wasn't quite there.
So Tom Foley comes to the plate. Facing the right-handed pitcher, Todd Worrell. Foley fouls one off and is behind. He's 0 for 2 with a walk tonight. Foley's hit 2 home runs.
Both in the same game.
Ball 1-1. Nelson Santavania has home run power, and he's on deck. Here's the 1-1 from Todd Worrell. Foley meets it and hits it to the deepest part of the park where Willie McGee is parked. 2 away.
With a pitcher like Worrell, sometimes you see Santavania coming to the plate. Sometimes you let him supply all the power. You just put the good end of the bat on it and put a decent swing on it, the ball will carry.
Santavania has hit 3 home runs this season. Came very close to one last night. He hit one to the wall in the 9th inning. as part of the Expos rally to come back and beat the Chicago Cubs 5-4. Here it's 3-3, bottom of the ninth, 2 away. The Expos' 19th extra inning game looming in the offing. Slider from Worrell.
When you have a fastball that's in the 90s and you have a slider that's approaching 90, he said the hardest slider, J.R. Richard, when he was with the Houston Astros, had a slider that was 91, 92. Never got the hit against him, and I could tell it wouldn't be a picnic.
Broken bat, soft liner for the second baseman, Tim Jones, and Worrell has the Expos in order in the ninth. So it's on to extra innings. What else is new? This is Labatt Expos Baseball on TSN. On to the 10th inning from Olympic Stadium in Montreal. The Cardinals and the Expos tied 3-3 as Tim Burke comes back out to work. Extra innings this season, the Expos have been incredible. 14-4. While the Cardinals have been less than incredible at 7-9.
But the Expos 26 of their last 31 over the last 2 years, and an incredible record in extra innings.
There must be a great deal of confidence on this team by this time of night, now that they know they're in extra innings and are tied and have won so many of them over the past couple of seasons. I wonder if that has really played a part in their extra inning heroics. A great deal of confidence coming off the bench.
Well, what I always say, if you're going to stick around this long, you might as well win the ball game. There's, as you can see, the benches are somewhat depleted.
But Mike Fitzgerald still hasn't come off the bench.
Cardinals do have a left-hander warming up in the bullpen. Vince Coleman now switches. Larry McWilliams, the left-hander. Vince Coleman now jumping over to the left-hand side.
Coleman, McGee, and the pitcher spot, Todd Worrell. Excuse me, Pendleton is the third man due up. Worrell in Brunansky's spot, the cleanup spot. There's a broken bat, two-hopper for Foley, and he guns out Coleman.
Key man to retire. Coleman has scored 2 of the 3 Cardinal runs this evening. Broken bat chopper. Well, watch, Foley throws him out with plenty of room to spare, but he does hustle knowing that it's Vince Coleman.
Willie McGee is hitless tonight, but he's been aboard a couple of times. On the error and the fielder's choice. The error to Galarraga in the first. It was a shaky start for the Expos tonight. Bryn Smith walked the first man. Coleman stole the base. McGee got aboard on an error, and Coleman was at third. And well, then a fielder's choice by Pendleton was all it took to score Coleman. It was like they started the game half an hour early. One and one to McGee. Inside, ball 2-2-1.
Part of late inning defense in close ball games is where the way the first baseman and third baseman play. Wallach and Galarraga very close to the lines, trying to prevent the extra base hit into the corners.
A fly ball to center field for Martinez, and McGee's gone. 2 away, top of the 10th, and Terry Pendleton is the batter. Another switch hitter will turn around and bat left-handed.
That guard on the arm looks like something out of rollerball. Pendleton's wearing. Maybe he's taking a pitch off of that forearm from time to time.
It looks a bit like the one Wallach wears on his ankle. Maybe just forgot to put it on.
Who's in that movie? James Caan?
Forgive me if I don't remember.
Was it a movie about...
Burt Reynolds in it?
No, I don't think he was, but it was a movie like a real rough roller derby. I mean, you could be killed in this sport. It's probably before your time. It was in color, though. I remember that. They had to, you know, show the blood scenes. You know, it was really gory movie.
No wonder I missed it. I only go to Disney flicks.
Well, Bambi always had that G rating, I guess. It's a base hit in the center field. So Pendleton keeps the Cardinal hopes alive here in the top half of the 10th inning.
7th hit of the night for the Cardinals, the second off Tim Burke. Pendleton's aboard, and there'll be a pinch hitter for Todd Worrell. You saw Ozzie Smith and Whitey Herzog speaking to each other on the bench a while ago. Maybe Whitey was asking Ozzie if he could come off the bench and pinch hit if needed. And Ozzie obviously answered in the affirmative because he's at the plate now to pinch hit for Worrell. So we'll see how effective Ozzie can be with the bat with the bandage on his thumb.
I think it bothered his throwing more than his hitting. We'll check out these swings by Ozzie at the plate. First pitch is low for ball 1.
Well, I wonder if this may be advantage Expos in that they get rid of Worrell.
I think that'd be an advantage to any team that got Todd Worrell out of the ball game.
Of course, they still have to get out of this little mess, but there are 2 out. Got a bad thumb batter. A 1-0 pop-up. Rex Hudler backpedaling in shallow center and makes the catch. So the Expos' Tim Burke gets out of the 10th inning by getting Ozzie to pop up. So maybe he planned that single to Pendleton. Got Ozzie up there and got rid of Worrell. Now the Expos get to go to work probably on Larry McWilliams. Tied 3-3, middle of the 10th. This is Labatt Expos baseball on TSN. CSL Sunday with Vic Crowder and Graham Leggett comes to you this weekend from Vancouver, home of the 86ers, which have gone unbeaten in 16 straight games dating back to last year. Their opposition, the Calgary Kickers. Sunday at 9 p.m. Eastern Time, CSL Sunday on TSN.
Left-hander Larry McWilliams came to the Cardinals as a free agent over the winter. Done a fairly good job for St. Louis through the first half of the season. 4-3 with a 2.75 ERA. Used both as a starter, now to the bullpen. 11 starts, 17 relief appearances. This will be his 18th. Left-hander formerly of the Pittsburgh Pirates. The Expos will send up Hudler, Nixon, and Dave Martinez. The bottom half of the 10th inning.
Down on the farm tonight, coincidentally, the Expos farm team is playing the St. Louis Cardinals farm team. The Louisville Cards, the Indianapolis Indians, and Indianapolis is up 3-0 playing in the 7th inning. Indianapolis trying to go 71-37, 34 games above 500 in AAA. to Hudler.
By the way, that Louisville Cardinal team is managed by former Montreal Expo Mike Jorgensen.
And Indianapolis has a new player as the Expos today acquired the rights to Paul Noche, a minor league infielder. They needed him as they traded Casey Candell to Houston for Mark Bailey, a backup catcher. So Dave Dombrowski continues to swing deals. Hudler tonight has been aboard in a bunt single and stolen the base, popped up, flied out. So he's 1 for 3. Here's the 1-2 pitch. At appeal, Larry Pancino says no.
Larry's been a busy man tonight with appeal plays, balls down the line, close plays at first base. And just think, after all that work, he gets to go behind the plate tomorrow night.
Here's the 2-2. Hudler waited on it nicely, but pulled it foul. Breaking baller, a change of speeds, and Hudler waited long enough, and then when he jumped on it, he pulled it foul. 2-2. 3-3 tie, bottom of the 10th. First man up. Count goes full, 3-2. Now McWilliams doesn't want to let Hudler get aboard on a free pass. Even though he's been out in the bullpen, even from there, he can see the damage that Hudler can do on the base pass. Hudler reaches out, slashes at it, and gets the base hit. Had a mind to go to second, but he made the turn and then put on the brakes. And the Expos have a winning run on first base.
Watch it swing. That's your classic base hit swing. Hudler kind of reaches out, strokes it into right center field. Watch McGee, very heads up in center field, gets it in a hurry, knowing the speed of Rex Hudler.
So now it's Otis Nixon, who's had a pair of hits, is 2 for 2 since coming into this game. And now he gets to turn around and bat from his strong side. He has trouble from the left side, but both of his hits have come that way. See if the bunt is on here as McWilliams fires over to Hudler. In the on-deck circle, Tracy Jones with Dave Martinez due up next. Infielders are coming in. The bunt is down. Pendleton up with it. Throws over and unable and not sure that he was right on the bag. Mike Laga made sure that he tagged Otis Nixon as he went by. The sacrifice is done. The run's in scoring position with 1 out.
Nixon, one of the things that keeps him around in the big leagues, the fact that he can bunt the ball. Gets the job done. Rex Hudler at second had rounded the back. Tony Pena, the catcher, ran all the way down to third to cover third base and keep Hudler from trying to advance all the way to third on the bunt.
Now Tracy Jones will pinch hit for Dave Martinez. That brings a conference on the mound. And Jones has been red hot to the bat. And a chance to drive in a game-winning run here. Whitey Herzog is making a trip to the mound. With Jones in the game, he wants to go to a right-hander. So that'll be all for Larry McWilliams.
I believe it's John Costello.
Indeed it is.
Coming out of the bullpen. So after Buck Rogers makes the move to the right-handed hitting Tracy Jones, Whitey Herzog counters by bringing in a right-handed pitcher.
This is Whitey's 5th reliever of the night. That means if this game goes on much longer, he's got to get into starters. Larry McWilliams gave up a single to Hudler, the sacrifice bunt to Nixon, and when Buck Rogers had announced the right-handed Jones. Herzog makes the move for Costello.
17th appearance for John Costello. Fine ERA of 1.00 in 18 innings pitched, 13 strikeouts. He's walked 8, given up just 1 home run. And the league is hitting just .203 against this right-hander.
No longer in the bullpen. Mike Fitzgerald is now in the dugout. The hero of the last 2 nights.
Edging ever closer to home plate.
Got a very intense look on his face.
You can see the equipment very close, almost jumping off the bench, ready to come in at a moment's notice. John Costello spent most of the '87 season with the Arkansas Travelers in the Texas League. Costello appeared in 44 games, had a 5-2 record, 7 saves, struck out 67 in 74 innings, so he's got a pretty good fastball.
He has allowed runs in just 1 of 16 appearances this season. And he'll face Tracy Jones. Left-handed pinch hitter Greg Nettles is in the on-deck circle, loosening up for Buck Rogers. Potential winning run at second base, 1 away. And that runner at second base has the potential to take third in a hurry. Rex Hudlin has a stolen base tonight and is 14 for 14 this season.
Little bigger lead for Hudler.
He's on his way. Pena's up and throwing. Safe. Stolen base 15.
Now Hudler got a late jump on this play. Really not the desired lead or whatever, but the throw still not in time. Gives you an indication how fast he can run. That left foot underneath the tag. Pendleton looking for the call from Fred Brocklander. Doesn't get it. The Cardinals are forced to bring the infield in.
6 stolen bases for the Montreal Expos tonight. 11 in the past 2 nights. And because of that speed, the winning run is 90 feet away. Tracy Jones takes one inside, 2-1.
The way Tracy took that pitch didn't look like he saw very much of it. Unbuttoned his shirt.
Cubs have defeated the Phils. Jones wants this to get out of there. Doesn't quite. Same difference. 2-2. Medium to deep fly ball will score the winning run.
A difficult play from Mike Laga. I think Hudler would have tagged up and tried to score on that play.
You think so?
It would have been tough for him to turn around and throw back to home plate. Bouncing off the wall. Hudler had tagged at third. He was going to try to score. Would have taken a perfect throw to get it.
Yeah, you're right. That guy is so fast. So a pop-up anywhere will score the run.
Cardinal outfield in close. 2-2 count.
Even at that, even where the Cardinal outfielders are playing now, there's a pretty good chance Hudler can score and a ball hit to any one of those guys.
Now, McGee and Ford have fairly strong arms. The weak arm in the outfield is Coleman.
Popped up. This one won't be far enough. Second baseman Jones makes the catch and runs the ball into the pitcher. 2 away. Now the fly ball possibilities out of here. And the Expos will try and win this game with Greg Nettles at the plate.
Montreal trying to get Rex Hudler in from third base. Nettles, the man who led the National League in pinch hits, runs batted in last season. At the moment, 7 to 31 as a pinch hitter with a home run and 7 runs batted in.
7 RBIs being the important statistic now. Trying to make it 8. John Costello trying to get his team off the hook here in the bottom of the 10th and send this one to the 11th.
Veteran Nettles has been up in this situation many times before with the ball game on the line.
There's a ground ball. Base hit. Expos win the game 4-3. The second game-winning RBI of the season for Greg Nettles, his 8th pinch hit RBI, and this remarkable team that seems to come alive in the extra innings does it again.
Not hit well, but well placed. You can see the disdain of that baseball by Kurt Ford in right field. Nettles again, getting a fastball, tails well, hit it off the end of the bat, but still was able to drive it past diving Tim Jones. And Montreal wins for the 15th time in 19 extra inning ball games.
Amazing. No one had gone home here because they anticipated this happening. Nettles delivers the game-winning RBI tonight, and the Expos have defeated the Cards 4-3. This is Labatt Expos Baseball on TSN. TSN Expos Baseball has been brought to you by Petro-Canada, dealers and agents. Our energy is Canada. Expos Baseball is a presentation of the Sports Network. It's protected by copyright. Any use of this broadcast without permission is prohibited. The final score in extra innings, the Expos 4, the Cardinals 3. The winning pitcher is Tim Burke, now 3-2. Larry McWilliams is the loser, now 4-4. The Labatt player of the game tonight for the Montreal Expos is Otis Nixon, who had a pair of hits and 3 stolen bases while scoring 2 runs. He'll receive Electroblade, a new revolution in blade shaving by Remington. For the St. Louis Cardinals, Terry Pendleton had a pair of hits and drove in 2 runs. He'll receive a weed eater from Poland. The Expos relief pitchers will receive the Electroblade, a new revolution in blade shaving by Remington, and Skill Super Twist cordless power screwdrivers. When the pressure's on, count on Skill. Our next Expo telecast on TSN will be Tuesday night, the 2nd of August at 7:30 Eastern, when the Pittsburgh Pirates host Montreal. The next Blue Jay telecast will be tomorrow night at 7:30 Eastern, when Toronto will play host to the New York Yankees. Stay tuned now for Extra Innings, our phone-in show with Cardinal reliever Dan Quisenberry. You can call the Quiz Collect at 416-445-1811.